Hail to thee, my kindred. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever and whenever you are. I don't know why I try to give myself a little showman voice right there every time I say that. Not every time, sometimes. Many times, though, in the past, I've done the exact same thing. Anyhow, sorry. Let me move my microphone a little bit. I gave myself a few minutes to prep, and I still am not too satisfied, let's say, with the way my microphone is positioned, especially because it kind of leans away from me, so there is that. But anyways, how are you guys? I am doing quite fine. I got less sleep than I would have liked. Napped for 2 or 3 hours roughly. I think it was 3 because my alarm clock either went off and somebody turned it off and it did not wake me up, or it just didn't go off and I didn't set it up correctly. News! I am apparently now eligible for affiliate, which is very cool, very nice. Thank you guys for watching me here on Twitch, I know there's not really anybody here just yet, but just in case someone, watches the VODs and they also watch live every now and again. Thank you guys. You guys are cool. I'm not gonna become an affiliate just yet because I don't know how exactly that works. But, we're there. We've accomplished one small step for a man, and perhaps someday a giant leap for all mankind. Let's see, where were we the last time around when we played this game? Forte got murdered. My boy. My favorite boy. Outside of art. Got himself murdered somehow by Sei, who we knew was gonna murder people because of that weird time travel-y memory power that Echo has. Yes, Rip Forte. And welcome, Ari VT. You are new. Forte is dead. He was my favorite. My second favorite, because I gave him a voice. He was like the only one I'm pretty sure I actually try to give a voice to every time I got to speak in his dialogue. It was a very bad voice, a very bad Italian accent, but oh well. He's dead now. By the way, welcome. How are you doing? I hope you're doing alright. Just trying to remember what exactly went on outside of that weird memory time travel thing. Huh. Right, we're in the courtroom because Missy led us down there, and now Missy's in the infirmary. Missy somehow, I guess, used her body to block the elevator? No, because that doesn't really make sense, because you can go by the stairway to the courtroom. I forgot about that. Thank you. You're doing well. How am I? I'm doing quite alright. A little bit on the tired side, not gonna lie. I didn't sleep all that well. Took a nap several hours ago that only lasted like 3 hours, but hey, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. I've got the last of my coffee here with me. An unfortunate fate has befallen me where I've now run out of powdered instant coffee. My favorite, my bloodline is gone. The thing that keeps me going every day. I'm gonna have to go to some store soon, get some more, because we can't have this. Anyhow, let me get onto the game. I always forget how this works. Menu? No. Why are we here? Load game. How did I forget that I have to click load game? I missed the big letters right there in front of me. By the way, if the game volume seems a little low, don't be too spooked to say something. Right, there's Sei over there, you rascal. And there's my boy, my poor boy, just dead as hell. Is there even anybody here to discuss anything with? Oh yeah, I forgot that I got murdered because I went with Cannon and what was his name? Lyle to the damn downstairs area, and apparently that was the wrong move. And so we just figured out, oh, you can actually die in this game. Yeah, There's only this bastard to talk with. Any thoughts? Just one, and that says the culprit. Makes sense, you know? Seems plainly clear enough, but does that seem like something she would do? Well, who knows? It's likely that the other group was investigating something occurred that provoked her. Oh, I figured you might know a little more about her since you two have been talking lately. It's nothing like that. She doesn't talk much. I usually just think out loud to her. As for how she might behave, I can't put a pin on her. So, excluding the obvious potential culprit, I'm up a creek. It was only understandable that both of us were stumped. I mean... Oh, I also forgot about the fact that we met, what was her name? French gal. Her sister, I should say. Pandora's twin sister, who we didn't know existed until the whole looking at the files thing. That also happened, and she's still downstairs in that one room on the computer doing something. I don't remember what though. She's just kind of down there. Is it a good idea for her to be down there? Gods only know. This story is so weird. I don't even know what to think about it, I'll be honest, but I love it so far. Pretty fun, pretty fun. And I'm sorry that happens. My mouse is like kind of weird. We'll see what changes when Cannon shows up, dead or alive, that is. Right, she ran off when it got dark. Where is she, though? I'm a little worried. I know she's somewhere. She's not here, so she's not dead. Okay, Forte. Let's look at you, my boy. Oh. Alright, there's some blood on the scarf? Behind Forte's head was a sizable pool of blood. It's possible he fell backward and the back of his head split from the impact. The thought was upsetting. What about the obvious, dagger wound? How did Missy let this, happen? She was the one with both the gun and the dagger. Like, what went down? Forte's body was lying face up with a familiar dagger stuck in his abdomen. That's Darling's dagger. If this scenario were anything like the scenario when I went with Missy to investigate, I could only assume the dagger came from her possession. But why did Missy herself suffer a huge slash? Well, Forte being Forte, I'm sure he, kinda did the very gentlemanly thing. Damn, multiple stab wounds. 36 stab wounds. It looks like he was stabbed multiple times from the culprit, before the culprit plunged the dagger firmly in one spot. Surrounding the dagger stuck in his body, Forte had several tears in his shirt, exposing the lacerations in his abdomen underneath. The lacerations were notably clustered around the abdominal area. Anything else? His thing is like that. Nothing else. Yeah, this is a pretty obvious scene. Quite unfortunately for our boy. Alright, Sei. What have you gotten yourself into, girl? Sei was motionless and expressionless. She didn't dare look at anything except the body that lay before her. I didn't know where to begin with questioning her. I didn't want to suspect her, but it was difficult to think otherwise. She didn't appear to make any attempt in hiding her involvement either. I stammered for a minute before giving up entirely. So, what's the big idea, Sei? Saying nothing just makes you more suspicious, you know. Well, it certainly doesn't make her any less suspicious either. Damnation, why is my bandwidth perishing? Right around now. That's a little annoying. Sorry about the bandwidth, it gets a little funky sometimes here and there. Not the best, not the worst, but it is what it is. Cannot do anything about that. Oop. Sure, but blood makes a compelling case in favor of suspicious of murder. Yes, yes it does. It does very much. Thanks for nothing. Yeah, Forte's not very happy. I mean, not Forte, Lyle. Lyle's not very happy. I suppose we'll just go on with the court session. Or, well, assuming nobody else shows up. The scene was gruesome. Despite that, there didn't seem to be much of note. Did you find anything? To say I have even half an idea of what happened would be a stretch. There's very little to draw conclusions from, well, except for Lal and I looked at Sei. Forte's body, Sei's bloodied state, and then essentially, okay, it's happening again. And then essentially locked room. It couldn't be more straightforward. I still don't understand whether the courtroom is only accessible through the elevator or not. I assume it is because of the whole Missy blocking the way thing. I can't believe this. Is there even a victim report? Maybe if we return to the foyer, we'll find one printed from the kiosk. I'd like to see the victim report as well. I'm displeased to say that I'm unaware of what happened here. Missy returned to the trial grounds from the infirmary, a gauze dressing covering the inflicted wound. Yes, the inflicted. I almost said infected. As Missy scanned the bloody scene once more, her downcast gaze paused to meet Sei's. Sei, why don't we get you cleaned up? You're being awfully casual with the culprit. Missy didn't respond. She offered her hand to Sei, who stiffly reached up to receive it. The two of them left the crime scene without another word. Were we supposed to stop them? Well, it's not like they'd get very far. I don't even know where to start on how strange this all is. Let's just get down to the foyer and find the victim report. There's no use standing around a dead body. Zero probably has to clean this place up for the trial anyway. I nodded. Lyle started toward the elevator as I glanced at Forte's body one last time. We took the elevator back down to the foyer once more. My precious boy. Arriving at the foyer, Lyle went straight for the main kiosk. I stepped out to follow, but stopped at a familiar sight. Yep. Photograph of Darling. A familiar photograph of Darling was on the floor. It had a small puncture at the top of it. Huh? I've seen this before. It was the same photograph Missy received for her special gift. This time, but I wasn't with her when she received it. Yes, we were not. However, I noticed that the wall near the elevator had a similarly small puncture that matched the photograph. Could it be? The two punctures in the wall and the photograph could be indicated of Missy pinned the photo on the wall with Darling's dagger this last time. But if the photo is on the floor, a puncture is in the wall and the dagger is in a different place, someone must have taken the dagger out of the wall. What did it mean, if it meant anything at all? Okay, so no weird time travel shenanigans other than the memory stuff. So she did the same thing, stuck the thing to the wall, and that was unfortunately a mistake on her part. Hey, Echo, the victim report is over here. Ah, sorry, coming. I hustled over to Lyle as he waved the postcard-sized black sheet. I don't think it's gonna say much. Forte solo. The victim's body was discovered on the trial grounds. The estimated time... Sorry, the estimated time of death? 13:45. What? Is that it? About as useful as any other of the cards. You're telling me this is completely useless? It doesn't even say cause of death. Yeah, it's all dodgy. I wonder if Gaia had something to do with manipulating the report. You think she had something to do with it? Well, I'm not ruling out the possibility. While Gaia is allegedly lost her overseer of visibility, it might be possible she had the capability of manipulating the report from the workstation. I grumbled at the thought of another suspicious act. Oh, that reminds me, Cannon is still absent. I hope she's okay. Yeah, she must be. If she were dead, another victim report would have turned up. That's not very comforting. After our brief discussion about the victim report, Missy and Sei emerged from the living quarters, meeting us in the foyer. That's also assuming that one must not find the body first. Sei's expression remained as sober as before. Missy's eyes were shifting with unease. The two of them might have cleaned up the mess of the scene before, but whatever was going through their minds continued to darken their faces. The trial might start any minute now. Let's use our time wisely to get information out of those two. Well, the only one that's worth talking to in this situation really is, Missy. So, Missy, are you alright? I'll survive. Fortunately, the cut wasn't too deep. That's a relief. What happened? To be honest, I haven't the foggiest. I can hardly even recall how I ended up where I did. Start from the top. What did your group do when we split up? We visited Cyrus's room as a group to gather information. I used a dagger pommel to knock the doorknob off and unlatch the lock. Inside, we found files of the preservation project, a class dossier detailing our background, and some floor plans for the area you visited. After exhausting the files of information, we visited the trial grounds, thinking we could confront the one administrating this game. However, Zero was nowhere to be found. We had hit a dead end. Figures. Whoa. Missy's story lined up with striking familiarity to what she did when I explored the main floor with her and Forte. If that was true, it's likely I knew exactly what information was detailed, thanks to the strange occurrence I experienced. While we were idling in the trial grounds, the motive directive at Forte and Sei came into play. Forte had a bit of a sorrowful look about him when he heard the song, and Sei got nothing. We had hit a dead end. We searched the most damning places we could in our area, and still yet nothing cropped up. That said, I decided to employ what I learned about Sei from the files. She has some connection to Zero. Sei knows Zero? Oh yeah. The only ones who knew about Sei and Zero were the ones who stayed in the foyer and investigated Cyrus's confidential information. Yes, I pleaded for her to share what she knew, that she should admit it for the sake of escaping our enclosure. But rather than assisting, it appears she snuck the dagger from my possession and lashed out at me. Sei attacked you? I'm afraid so. I must have said something wrong to provoke her. At that point, all I can recall is toppling back from the sudden offense as Forte put himself between me and Sei. She made a threat to harm herself, directing the dagger at herself, after which Forte made a move to take the dagger, but seeing as she's unharmed, it was a false alarm. I probably hit my head or something because I must have blacked out until you two came. Missy trailed off. It was discomforting to see her so unsure. Yeah, she's usually very self-assured and very confident in especially when it came to displaying information, but, you know, to be fair, she was attacked, and this is another dead person who died because of something she held in her possession. So, you know, I don't blame her for being too weary of things and not exactly in the best of mindsets. Because who would we be? What? That is not what I meant to say. We would be the same. That's what I meant to say. There we go. We would be the same. As far as your admission goes, Sei was the last one wielding the dagger. The very same one that is planted in Forte's body right now. That is correct. There doesn't seem to be any other conclusion here, is there? This is essentially a locked room murder with only one possible culprit. It would be difficult to contest otherwise. I wouldn't be able to sit with myself if I really did cause her to spiral this far. Her voice cracked with remorse. I wanted to reassure her that it wasn't her fault, but I didn't want to lie and let anyone down, and the situation was getting more and more bleak by the minute. Why do I feel like Missy's gonna be the next murderer? Because so far, her actions have caused the death of 2 people. Cyrus and, well, I guess technically, say sneaking a knife from her isn't exactly her fault, but the possible provocation is her fault, and now she's going to feel like she's only gotten, well, she's gotten 2 people killed. Out of all the murders that are 3, 2 are because of things she had to do with in some way, shape, or form. And that is going to affect her mindset. There's no way around that. By the way, where is Cannon? Wish we could tell you. Looks like you didn't see her crawling around up here either. She disappeared while we were investigating beyond the foyer doors. Can't say where she ran off to, though. I see. Her absence during all this is quite disconcerting. Not to mention, I don't seem to have the revolver in my possession anymore. Missy reached into her inner coat pocket and came up short. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah. Yikers, my dude. We are not in a very good position, and now a potential 4th murder may occur. So the revolver was missing. That, along with Cannon's absence, was cause for concern. What did you 2 learn in the sequestered floor beneath us? Well, the rooms below are the trophy room and testing chambers. We didn't explore the trophy room, but from the outside of it, it's just a display area for hunting game. However, we found the physical bodies of Zero and Eve, or Akihiko Quartz and Gaia Esper, in the testing chambers. Oh, so you've learned their identities as well. Yeah, you don't seem surprised. And those 2 students' profiles were also in the class dossier. Why they were included when they aren't participants is beyond me. You'd think that kind of information would be better hidden. Other than that, we didn't find much else of note. I see. None of you were near the crime scene at all? No, when the blackout occurred, we were immobilized, stuck in the testing chambers until the lights returned. There was a blackout? I had no idea. It must have hit when I was in my daze. Yeah, and we still don't know. I'm still not sure how Cannon got around. I assume she just pulled a cry of fear and just flashed her camera around until eventually she made it to wherever she was going. I can't help but think I caused a snowball effect with Sei, resulting in Forte's death. Missy grumbled under her breath. She was visibly trying to wrap her head around what we learned. After learning about the details of Missy's side of events, things were getting more and more tangled up. Alright, time to talk to Sei. Sei, are you okay? Did you get hurt or anything? No, I'm fine. You're fine. Sei nodded. That's good to hear. Why do you care? Well, you're safe. That's always good news. So, she came out of that mess completely unscathed. Unlike Missy, who received a nasty scar, and unlike Cannon, who was completely missing. What was going on? Do you have anything to say about being at the crime scene? No, it should be crystal clear what happened there. You say that, but... Say closed her eyes and turned away, ending the conversation promptly. I couldn't bring myself to believe it. But what? There's nothing more to be said about this. Is there? Is there? I read that weird. Let me read this again. But what? There's nothing more to be said about this, is there? She's asking for this. There shouldn't even be a trial for something as clear as this. I just don't want to jump to any hasty conclusions, okay? We might suffer the consequences of a poor decision if we go to the most obvious. We had to be careful. The trial was our only chance to clear the confusion, even if it did look as clear as day. Echo, a word. After talking to Missy and Say, Lyle and I shuffled off for a sidebar. I have never heard of that term, but it kind of makes sense if you're at an actual bar. I wonder what could have put everyone in such a precarious situation. Never mind that, we have a very clear culprit here, don't you agree? If we point out who it is right away, the answers will come spilling out. I don't know if it's as simple as you think it is. Don't get all contemplative on me. Look, it's dangerous to make assumptions. I don't want to suffer needless consequences if we can help it. I get that, but you don't discount a healthy suspicion. There's no use in blindly following someone's word and word alone. Especially when one's adrenaline starts messing with their perception of the situation. Facts can get muddled up. I agree. We've experienced it personally. Niall and I were on the same page. Although our approaches were different, the only thing we had going forward was our intuition. We have to put our heads together. We won't get anywhere if we don't work together. I hope I can count on you for help. Likewise, but I can't promise anything. Where on earth is Cannon, though? Last I recall, she has been acting a little worrisome since last night. And I don't think it helped her frustration that you tried to take her camera. Mal shot me a dark look for a second before casting his gaze under heavy eyelids. She's not the most trustworthy, okay? Running around doing who knows what. Though I shouldn't stir the pot, I suppose. I sighed. I couldn't disagree with Lyle's stance, but Cannon did make an attempt to cheer me up somewhat. I couldn't flat out accuse Lyle. I couldn't help but think her behavior was the result of me rejecting her photograph. It's that time, folks. Class trial time. The elevators will take you all to the courtroom once everyone has entered. Not that there are much of you left. The four of us sucked into the elevator once more, the door sliding to a close as we anxiously stood by for whatever discoveries we would make in the courtroom. We stood in the elevator cab, unmoving. Jeez, what is going on this time? The door slid open once more. Oh, she's there. Cannon crept into the elevator. The doors finally closed and the elevator began to move. She was alive, thankfully. Cannon! Where the hell have you been? We didn't hear a single breath from her. Yeah, she's, not having any of it today. Her silence was deafening. She faced away from the rest of us, completely unreadable. Cannon was alive after all. But her behavior from last night and her absence during the whole mess, it was worrisome. Canon, I whispered, but she didn't react at all. Canon made a haunting re-entry. Given what we knew about a revolver gone missing and Cannon's disappearance from the testing chambers moments before the body announcement, was I too late? Was this my fault? Dignity and diligence. Well, it does seem pretty black and white. Oh, hold on. Need to take a little screenshot of that. I'd like to do this. Thank you. I like how I'm just spamming screenshot after screenshot after I finally figured it out. She didn't turn. Cannon, I was cold to you last night. You don't have to apologize. I have to be the one who's sorry. Cannon's voice was hushed. Huh? I'm sorry. But you don't have anything to be sorry for. I'm the one who tore your well-intentioned photo in half. Cannon? What does she mean I ought to be the one who's sorry? The atmosphere was disquieting. No one said a word. We stoically reserved all our inquiries for the upcoming trial. This is very odd. Okay, and listen, unfamiliar. And the thing is a sinking anchor. That's the image. I do wonder what that means. Another visit to the trial grounds. Every trace of the crime scene had been removed as if nothing had happened. However, I saw the phantom image of blood painting the floor burn the back of my eyes. The five of us stepped inwardly, warily, footsteps echoing in the chamber as we habitually navigated to our respective stands in silence. Another trial. And so many of us gone. When we split up, our groups had discovered a slew of information that attempted to explain our captivity. But in spite of making these discoveries that we thought would help us prevent further danger, another one of our group has fallen. Yeah, it's like every step forward we take is just a step back, really. One step forward, one step back, one step forward, one step back. We make progress, we seem to be chill, and then we're not chill with one another. We are the opposite of chill. Fucking hell. It is unfortunate that I must greet you like this, but welcome back to the trial grounds. Well, she has a little hologram now. A fuzzy hologram of Gaia appeared before us. Oh, you're here too? Sure, whatever. Showing your face isn't really going to change anything, you know. Gaia, do you know anything about what happened to Forte? I can't say I do, but please consider my presence an asset to your discussion. Should you need any inquiries answered, I will do my best. Jeez, this one has been nothing but useless. If anything, I would posit that Zero will, at the very least, respect my testimony. What makes you think you can pull the wool over our eyes? What if you two are colluding? Ha! You give her too much credit. At this point, she's nothing but an obstacle. Eve, or rather as you know her now, Gaia, knows zilch. I'm the one who knows for certain whether you all will be voting correctly or incorrectly. After all, what kind of judge would I be if I didn't know? Freeing Gaia meant stripping her of her prize. Huh? But we're not here to talk about that. Okay, so my theory about the prize, quote-unquote, being the encapsulation and, I guess, melding into this place's system is correct? Because it kind of seems to be hinting that that is the case, that is the prize. You just get put in a goddamn stasis pod and now you're connected and become partially AI or something. So, let's get this show on the road. Let's go over the rules, shall we, again and again. You're all on trial to figure out who the culprit is for today's heinous crime. The rules are as follows. Discuss, discover, and determine who the culprit is among your group. A majority vote will seal the individual's fate, and we'll just see what happens from there, yeah? One of few outcomes will occur. Determine the vote incorrectly, and the entire class is executed, with the culprit alone being able to walk free and win the ultimate prize. That's the ideal endgame for the culprit. Determine and vote correctly, and the culprit alone will receive proper retribution and perish at the hands of your group decision. Phew, you just might live to see another day. Our victim today is Forte Solo, the ultimate opera singer. It's a real shame we never got to hear that bass baritone voice of his, says Lovey. So, you know what to do. I'm sure you'll get this one done with a real quick. Zero chuckled to himself after his brisk opening statement. We all stared at one another from the circumference of the stands, our eyes locking onto the most suspicious. Yeah. Don't waste your breath on this, there's an obvious answer. Is that so? Now let us be the judge of that. This case is going to be difficult, but we need to try. Hey, could you go back like 40 minutes? I missed some parts. No, absolutely not. Go and time travel. Figure it out yourself. You didn't miss much, really. We started off with, we were already down there where Sai was just sat on the wall or against the wall with her bloodied hands. Forte was dead as hell on the ground. He apparently, when their group made the discoveries, they went down into the courtroom. Missy wanted to ask questions. She must have said something that provoked snuck Missy's knife from her, slashed her in the chest. Forte got in the way to, because he's the gentleman that he is, and got himself, shanked, and he's dead. And this case is pretty black and white, but I have a feeling we're just gonna go over all the evidence anyhow, and it's gonna be kind of a long one, I guess. This case is going to be difficult, but we need to try. Though I desperately wish this wouldn't happen again, a culprit must be found. First things first, we can't ignore the fact that Sei was right in the middle of the crime scene, drenched in blood, presumably from the victim himself. It is ineffable, the sheer amount of evidence proving that you are at fault for this. Make your own judgment. Fine. There's no way around the fact that no one else could have killed Forte, but I suppose I'll entertain you. Let's clear up everyone's alibi. When the 6 of us split up, the 2 groups were as follow. Missy, Forte, and Sai went to investigate the floors we've seen. Canon, Echo, and I went to investigate beyond the foyer doors. Black and white per plot twist. I just kind of choked on my own saliva there. But yes, very black and white. Here is when Gaia's statement will prove useful. Yeah. Me, Lal, and Canon were together with her for a majority of the afternoon, down in the testing chambers. That is correct. I have not left the testing chambers since my release. As for supporting Lyle and Echo's statement, I did not see anyone leave the testing chambers. Nevertheless, I unfortunately took no notice of when Canon supposedly left. Yeah, Canon, you managed to slip out unnoticed while Lyle and I spoke to Gaia. Where did you go? I had to step out. Step out? Where to? Back to the main wing so you could sneak around and plot something on your own? Canon in the main wing? If she were involved in Forte's murder, she never made herself known during our journey. The 3 of us didn't see a trace of her as we explored the rooms, and only the 3 of us went up in the elevator before Forte's demise. So only the 3 of you went up. Missy, is there anything else you can tell us about your group's exploration? Forte is no longer with us, and And Sei is obviously culprit number 1. And Sei might be unreliable. Doesn't the blood speak for itself? Sei, one moment. I'd hate to commit a conclusion so hastily, so I would like to know what occurred leading to the events that caused my side of the investigation to unravel so grievously. The three of us moved as one unit in the main wing for the entirety of our investigation. Like I said, we all entered the trial grounds together. And? Well, I cannot speak more plainly about what occurred after, though I wish more than anything it were untrue. But that wish is nothing but dust. The slash that has been carved in proof this. Okay, yeah. Sei turned the dagger on me. She went off. Crazy, loco. Okay. Why can't I just take a screenshot of that? Oh well. There we go. Snapped one. Haha. Clear as day. Sei Kono. Canon. Sei Kono is the culprit behind Forte's murder. Hold it. If you asked me to act right now, I wouldn't lay a vote against Sei. I was the only one present when she made her assault. I should know what her motive to cause harm was, and I say it was not with murderous intent. Sei still harmed you though. That action alone could be indicative of more, case in point, the very poignant murder of Forte. Are you protecting her? What do you even have to gain from doing something like that? Hang on, if Missy has an explanation, we should hear her out. I'm still apprehensive about voting too quickly, especially when we haven't yet established any rhyme or reason. Indeed, my testimony is not driven by a want to gain anything except the truth. Would I not be endangering myself if I voted against Sei? I see where this is going. Knowing how tiresome you all are, you want to dig for a reason behind this sort of thing, despite seeing that the conclusion could not be any more telling. Fine, let's talk motivation. Just cut to the chase, will you? It would be helpful. After all, Zero explicitly delivered motivations in different targeted ways over the course of the afternoon. Motivations. What could have caused Sei to turn that dagger against Missy, and possibly against Forte as well? And did hearing the other motivations cause someone else to behave differently? Hopefully, in turn, we might also get an answer to Lyle's question, but of what Missy might have to gain if she potentially were protecting Sei. Let's see what everyone has to say about their specific motives. Motive? My motive? It was a photograph. My motive, along with Cannon's, was delivered shortly after our two groups parted ways. A photo, the bloodied portrait of a friend whom the dagger once belonged. Say the announcement didn't direct any sort of gift to you. That's right. And Lau, your motive? It was the blackout, the result of my fear of the dark. We still never figured out what Cannon's motive was. She says it's a photo, but I kinda wanna question that, just due to the fact that she's being hella suspicious. The moment her thing came out of the kiosk, she immediately just like grabbed it, crumpled it, and put it in her like pocket. So I am rather suspicious of her, and I think I'm not wrong for that. It's the only like correct thing to be, considering the situation. Let's ask questions. We know that much. Care to explain on what the photograph is? No, I didn't look at it. Do you want us to suspect you? For all we know, you could have been planning something from the moment you received the photograph. Lyle, hang on. If Missy said she didn't see Cannon around, it's not fair to call Cannon the culprit right away. And I still think there's something strange about her not being around when the lights went out. Though she claimed that she didn't look at the motive photograph, Cannon's absence during a majority of the afternoon was concerning. Okay, let's, I guess we'll just go to the fact that, bloodied portrait. She didn't get a motive. That's true. Forte Solo Solomon's song was announced first, and Say's announcement of nothing followed shortly. Did she react to the message in any way? She didn't react in any particular manner, no. Nothing. It's only fitting for me. Is that so? It's possible that Say being left out might have left an impression on her. Okay, I guess we'll point to the photograph? Missy withdrew the sheathed dagger she clung to after the second trial. I admit, I was overcome with a zealousness to confront the one we call Puppet Master, putting the mocking photo on the wall outside the elevator with the dagger. How the dagger ended up on the trial grounds as the murder weapon, I can only suspect that Say discreetly retrieved it from the wall and concealed it on her person before attacking me in a state of panic. So, we're able to trace the dagger's origin to you, but you claim to have left it as a wall adornment before entering the elevator. Correct. I still wasn't sure if I could write off the conditions of Missy's wound just yet, but Missy not initially taking the dagger with her into the trial ground seemed intentional somehow. Okay, so I'm like... The fear of the darkness? I wasn't aware something like that occurred. Yeah, but if you don't have any remembrance of it, it might have lasted for the duration of when you were knocked out. I see. What does my motive have to do with the case anyway? We already discussed that. Me, Echo, and Gaia were all together on the floor beneath the foyer, nowhere near the trial grounds. Well, we have to assume it affected the entire building and that the groups upstairs also lost their visibility. The darkness occurring has to have some bearing to the timeline of events. Say, do you recall a blackout occurring? Yes. I can't believe I still have to ask, but care to elaborate at all? It's unimportant. Is that so? But during the moment before Gaia found the flashlight, it was too dark to even see my own hand in front of my face. How could it have been possible for anyone to do anything without visibility? Based on the murder scene, we had a glaringly obvious culprit, but none of us could understand why Say would act in such a way. To make things more confusing, Say is the only one who without a properly delivered motive. The timing and respective intensity of each individual motive, it must create some volatility in our headspaces, as far as I can tell. It's a little tough to follow which ones are and aren't relevant. Though, now that I think about it, what if announcing them was the purpose of the motives? What? Announcing the motives? Why would someone else's motive affect anyone but the person it's meant for? Well, I was thinking, I didn't receive a personalized motive either, but to hear that everyone got something that would try to provoke them to murder? Wouldn't that be frightening? To hear who has motives and a reason to kill, you'd feel tormented that others could turn on you. And that's all I can think of. Say receiving her motive last, at least before Lyle's blackout. In that case, we're back to square one. Say's the culprit. You just explained a reason why she would be motivated to kill despite not receiving a personalized motive herself. She heard all the motives previous to hers and must have been shaken by the potential of everyone turning on her. Well, it's possible, but... No buts! If you need more proof, let's move on. With the evidence of Missy's claim of Say's attack in mind, the next topic is obvious. That is, the state of Forte's body. Yeah, the victim report was extremely non-specific, more than previous. Vague on purpose, most likely. There were an innumerable amount of stab wounds in his abdomen, likely from the dagger before it was finally stuck in his body. Stabbed? I thought... Cannon went silent. Fell silent. Something you want to share? That's right. Cannon, you didn't even see the body, did you? Sam, hi. Hail to thee, Sam. And say hello to the summer for me, if you may. How are you two? I hope you're all, relaxing, chilling on this Thursday. Out of Touch Thursday. Insert that one intro from that one anime. You're out of touch. You're out of touch. You know the one. I'm sure everybody's seen the meme. No, I didn't see the body. Then, is something wrong? The summer is here and says hi? Yes! Yippee! I have been said hi to by the summer. What a glorious day. I get a sip of my coffee because I am talking a little louder and it is tiring my throat out. I'm on my last mug for a while. I've run out of the instant coffee maker, and without instant coffee, Jolly is coffeeless. Nothing wrong. Then why are you so shocked that Forte was stabbed? You clearly know something. Lyle, ease back. But please, Canon, if you notice something odd, we need your help. Something odd? My help? I shot Forte. Huh? You did what? Canon? That's what you were up to. You'd better explain yourself. Not only was the revolver out of Missy's hands when we met with her, but you also have no alibi whatsoever. I would hope Canon isn't as contemptuous the person you think she is to deny information as critical as this when concerned. But I must know as well, why did you come to the foyer? And to what end did the revolver's last bullet entreat to have finally been spent? Okay, so... assuming she's right, I guess that's why Forte's head was bloodied up. She heard that and went... Shall I grace you with my presence and chat, Sir Lotto? Oh, if you wish, Madame Summer, if you so wish. But I do not wish to have Sam taken away so quickly. I do not know, this is a hard decision. Have Sam to yap at me, or have Summer to yap at me? Canon freely admitted that she caused harm to Forte, but to know why she meant to do such a thing caused an anticipation to rise in my chest. I've been suspicious of Say for a while. I had either a strange intuition or just another strain of bad luck led me on. What made me act was finally seeing the mystery announcer in the testing chambers. Echo and Lyle discovered Gaia, the voice behind Eve, so naturally, the other encapsulated person must be Sai's connection. But what made these suspects Zero and Sai had a connection to begin with? I noticed her reaction at the first Killing Game announcement. She was transfixed on the voice as if she heard it before. It's a small detail, but I couldn't shake it. You don't mind either way, and you think Summer may... You may a tiny bit want to come and say hi for a sec. Okay. Well, you can pass me on to Summer if you so wish. If you're fine with it. As long as I get passed back to you, Sam. From day one, I've only ever been suspicious of her. Okay, so Say was simply trying to take the fall for Canon? Hello, Sir Lotto, how are you? Hi, Summer, I'm doing quite fine. The day is going. It is going, and we are here solving yet another murder, to which we have received very, very damning information from one of the people here, who claims to have been the one to shoot my boy Forte, the Italian opera singer. I just assume he's Italian. I don't know if he's Italian or not. I just assumed he's Italian because Forte sounds Italian, and he's an opera singer. Was, I should say. My poor boy. By laying low, she was playing the long game, but that plan had to backfire eventually, right? So I slipped out while Gaia, Echo, and Lyle were talking. I had to investigate my apprehensions about her returning to the foyer. I moved wearily, but I didn't find any trace of them on the first floor. The only thing I found was a photo on the floor and a puncture mark on the nearest, in the wall near the elevator. I just missed them, true. I noticed the elevator was at the trial grounds. I called for the elevator to follow after. Upon my arrival, the doors opened and Missy was suddenly flung into the elevator cab with me. She just dropped in, bloodied, and her head hung low. I thought she might have been dead. I looked in to see who her assailant was and Sei and Forte in the middle of the struggle. Even though Forte had a dagger in his hand, Sei was the one with blood all over her hands. He must have pulled the weapon away from her just after her attack. Oh, don't tell me Forte was the one to engage. Please, I swear if it was Forte. Oh man, imagine this just being a giant clusterfuck. That could? No, cause, okay, Sei is acting like she did it, and now Canon is telling us she shot Forte, so I imagine she's gonna be like, I thought Forte was the one trying to kill people, so I just fucking shot him. Which would be tragic as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Even though Forte had a dagger in hand, Sei was the one with blood all over her hands. He must have pulled the weapon away from her just after her attack. My suspicion about Sei were confirmed. She was under our noses the whole time, waiting for the right moment to strike. Missy's revolver had fallen out of her coat pocket. I grabbed it and didn't think twice. I fired towards Sei. Well, I thought I did. The lights went out seconds after and I couldn't see where my shot landed. I couldn't turn in and check either, since the elevator shut in my face and mechanically returned me and Missy to the foyer. I ran. A shot was fired, Missy was unconscious, and a blackout overtook everything. Does that statement help? There we have it. A confession! What? Wait. Wait, for what? Is there any reason for us not to accept this as the truth? Well, no, but Cannon said she fired the revolver. A gun wound? Where? And that doesn't explain the lacerations. We can't ignore the one thing the Monokuma file detailed for us. There has to be some relevance. It's within reason for me to doubt that fact, aren't I? That's true. I was asking the same thing. Like, we know that he fell back and, like, hurt his head. Right, that don't match up, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. We know he was stabbed in the abdomen several times when we saw the body, and there was a stab wound, like the knife was in him, and the back of his head. So I was originally thinking, okay, maybe we didn't check the back of his head, and we just Echo assumed that he had just fallen over. But then again, it's like, if there was really a gunshot, maybe she just missed. Maybe Cannon just missed. And that's why on the card, the thing that determines his death is inconclusive. I don't know. I have no clue. This is confusing. I've been confused on like every trial thing so far, and every time I'm wrong about something. Oh, I can explain them. What? How? Your brain? I feel like you would like this game very much. I do recommend it. It does get... We do have some weird, like, shenanigans going on when it comes to Echo and potential mental time travel. It's the only way I can explain it. Because we died one time, but then we chose the right options that we were supposed to choose, and then we technically died again, and then we kind of like went back, quote unquote, to the decision that in which, because the groups had to split up. So if you go with one group, the group you're supposed to go with first is Missy and Forte, who's now dead, and then you see that Sei just goes on a freaking John Wick moment and just murks everybody. and then you wake up, not even wake up, you just like blink back to that decision, and your character's like, what the hell? Sounds fun? Yeah, it caught me so off guard. It caught me so off guard. Because, I forget what she said previously to this. Let me see. Log. Oh, I can explain them. And then Missy's like, what? How? Because I stabbed him in the abdomen after he was shot. What? Why? And there's no use in hiding it since you confessed. Truthfully, I couldn't believe it at first, but seeing how desperate she was, I ultimately wanted to help Cannon escape. Huh? After I witnessed Cannon shoot Forte from the elevator, he fell quickly and I saw his bracelet turn pink. I realized that because she wasn't with Lyle or Echo, Cannon would be the most likely implicated as the culprit, so I did what I had to do. I stabbed Forte's body several times near the gunshot wound to conceal it, making it look like he died of blood loss from lacerations rather than the shot. And since I was the only one on the trial grounds, the blame would be directed to me. Yeah, I forgot that Sei had been on a bit of like a depression streak ever since like she was a very anxious gal, and I knew I had to keep a fucking eye on her. Like, that's what I said the last time I was playing this. I was like, I need to keep an eye on this gal because she's worrying me. And no wonder. She was okay with, like, helping somebody else escape because she doesn't mind dying at this point. She is too much in despair over this whole situation. What happened to the shot and run? This is so convoluted. What happened to shoot and run? That is what Cannon supposedly did, right? Like, she meant to shoot Sei, probably ended up shooting Forte, which makes Cannon the murderer, which would mean that we would have to judge her and then, like, get her executed, otherwise everybody else gets executed. And then Sei's like, well, you know, I just wanted to help her out or something, and it's like, that's a little, not particularly out of character per se, but, like, it is in character that she would be fine with, like, doing something at this point, after all that's happened, and all the anxieties she suffered. I think it makes sense for her to be like, yeah, I don't care anymore. Just like, let's get this over with, kind of thing. But I don't know. After all, Cannon wants to leave just as much as any of us. Why not give her the advantage? But then there's also the problem of why Cannon herself would confess to shooting, right? Because then she would like. That part confuses me. I guess she could just be like a decent person and just be like, well, I don't want other people to die because of my actions, so like if I did it, then if Cannon tried to shoot Sei, why is Sei trying to help Cannon? Like I said, she's a very anxious and depressed gal, and after like there have been 3 previous murders and 3 previous executions prior to this. We started with 10 students. We're down to like, now that Forte's gone, 5. Until obviously somebody here gets executed, in which will be down to 4. My assumption is she's just like done. She's done with it. She's like, fuck it. Like it still doesn't match up, because in the quote unquote other timeline, I guess she is the one that goes around on a murder spree, but if somebody's already been murdered, then I assume maybe she just thinks, well, I can't murder somebody myself, otherwise it doesn't count. So might as well just like, if it's gonna end one way, might as well speedrun it. And just have it end with everybody getting executed except for Cannon, I guess. I don't know. This is strange. Let's just say Sei's not in a good headspace. No way. So Cannon became the culprit without even seeing her victim fall? Is that it? I can't argue with that. I didn't even see whether or not he died. But you're just going to accept it? All I know is that I fired a shot and someone ended up dead. What else is there to say? Yeah, it still doesn't make a lot of sense. And unfortunately, as far as we know, the surrounding conditions of Forte's death are indisputable. Like, this is such a tight, like, if he got shot in the stomach, he wouldn't die quick unless he got hit in like an artery, which I kind of doubt he did, right? Because usually when you get stuck in the stomach, when you get shot in the stomach, you don't die quick. Not unless it goes like especially with a pistol, right? Like I know it's a revolver, so it in theory could have like a round that packs a heavier punch, but even then, it's like it's still a pistol round. It wouldn't. It would just like go in ya, and it would just be stuck in your stomach, and you would just bleed out slowly rather than quick. Unless, like I said, if it somehow by some miracle goes in deep enough to hit an artery. Depends on what with. Yeah. So my worry is, okay, when did Forte die? Did he die of the gunshot or did he die of the stab wounds? You know? Because Sei could be lying. Sei could be saying that she only made it appear as if she had killed Forte, but Forte maybe was alive still after being shot, and she just decided to get the job done and have Canon take the fall for it. Still black and white, Jala. Listen, I didn't expect the story to be well written more than it already was, okay? I expected that they were gonna toss us a bone this time around. And Sei is the only witness. But is that really all there is to it? Given that I ultimately wound up in the foyer, it stands with reason that Kenan indeed visited the trial grounds, causing the elevator cap to go up and bring me back down after the assault. And you witnessed that I did not find the revolver on my person after I woke. I can't argue with that, but listen to you. It's all been laid out on the table. I am not hiding anything this time. You want to keep going with this discussion because the truth is hard to swallow? Is that it? I have news for you. These trials are full of impossible to accept facts. I'm sorry for continuing this vicious cycle, so won't you just allow me to leave with whatever is left of my dignity? Just let me receive punishment already. No, that's not it at all. I just... If there's something bothering you, just spit it out already. I couldn't help but think there was something missing. Too defensive? She's lying? I don't think so. Canon is very, standoffish. She's very much kind of... Oh, what would I describe her character as? I don't think she's lying. Because, she's done this thing multiple times where she, keeps quiet, and then she's like, okay, fine, here's a piece of information I know about. She, eventually relents. She always does that. She eventually relents for the sake of the group, even if she's, standoffish and attempts to, keep herself sort of isolated from everyone. She just sort of can't help but, eventually relent. So I don't think she's lying when it comes to shooting the gun and attempting to hit Sei. Like I said, my only, thing is, okay, when did Forte die? Did he die quickly after the gunshot wound, or did he die after being stabbed multiple times and Sei just thought he was dead? You know? That's my, that's literally the fractal point, essentially. I was cracking my head for an answer for something. That story just feels off to me. I just don't know why. Everything is out in the open. What else is there to deliberate? Nothing. Don't be a coward and just vote me off already. If there's no proof of another culprit, then you're just endangering yourself with an incorrect vote. I'm sure there's something else we can talk about that can save you. Canon, don't you care that you could be executed? No, of course I care. But who am I to argue with the facts? They're impossible to dispute. It's my punishment, isn't it? It's only fair that I get what I deserve. I can't fight it. I don't know what to think. None of us had any inkling of what truly occurred on the trial grounds. Kenan admitted that she shot Forte. Sei claims that the shot was what killed him, Say masked the gun wounds by stabbing Forte several times, allowing Cannon a clear getaway. But since Cannon unexpectedly confessed, there was no reason for Say to keep secrets the fact that she disrupted the crime scene, making it appear the way it did. All I could do is take their word as truth, right? Cannon and Say's testimonies were the only things we had to work with, yet I couldn't help but feel like oops, sorry about that. Almost choked. Yeah, I couldn't help but feel like there was so much more to this. I was struggling to find the truth in this trial, but would it lead me to the dead end? Damn, that sucks. Goodbye, Cannon. Maybe. A dead end? Missy said something like that when I went with her and Forte for the first time. We ran into a dead end of sorts when we were investigating the courtroom. We couldn't find Zero or any other hints. And then we were killed by one shortly thereafter. But something inexplicable occurred as my consciousness faded. I returned to the time before we split into two groups. This time, when I went with Lyle's group, I had information I never could have known if I didn't go with Missy's group first. I knew the testing chamber's code somehow, and that Pandora's incubated sister was Gaia, the ultimate cartographer. Cartographer? Cartographer. Bleh, words. Was it possible that I needed to pursue this dead end? Oh, I see what Echo is contemplating now. I think Echo better not be thinking about pulling a fucking Ray Zero on this shit. Like, just purposefully choosing wrong so that they can go back in time and like prevent the death from happening in the first place. Like, I don't know how well that's gonna work out, bud. And I grit my teeth. And I had an absurd idea. The discussion is over. There's nothing wrong. Cannon is the culprit. I looked over my classmates who all had the same painted, startled expression at the finality of my decision. None of them were shocked except Say. That's right. Nothing is wrong. Zero silently obliged, calling forward the vote screens to the other students. Everyone was dumbfounded, but with no other option laid before them, only one vote was to be made. We're just saying, like, yep, Cannon did it, and guess what? It probably wasn't her. Auf that's German. I don't know what the fuck that says. Auf Wiedersehen, Cannon. What does this mean? Let me look this up. Let me look this up real quick. German translator to English. Auf. What did they say? Auf Wader something. Wader Sahen. Okay, I don't think this translation is the most accurate, but let me maybe do it on Google Translate. Copy. Go to Google Translate real quick. Paste. Okay, it just simply means goodbye, I guess. Whoops. Forgot that happens when I'm not having the game on screen. Let me just make sure. Okay, there we go. Popped up. Goodbye, Cannon. Thanks for all your hard work. The room shook as the walls behind Cannon opened to reveal its dark depths. Cannon abruptly Cannon herself simply turned from her place at the stand and walked into the shadow. This is it. I fled from the stand, my feet beyond as they carried me toward the hallway beyond the walls. What on earth are you doing? I paid no attention to Gaia's call. I was pursuing that dead end. I slipped in. Gaia's startled exclamation along with the other shocked, carried cries echoing through the halls just before the walls shut. My head was thrashing from fear. Each breath I took was heavier than the last. I threw myself into an execution. Cannon? I cautiously stepped forward. A veil of darkness caused me to lose all my bearings. Echo? What the hell are you doing here? I blindly chased after Cannon's voice, at each step taking an enormous effort as I fought against all my instincts of self-preservation. This isn't right. What do you mean? You all voted for this. This is my punishment, isn't it? I was closing in on her. That's right. This is your punishment. This is everyone's punishment. Wait, what? Whirring machinery clicked into place as bursts of light flooded the room. The powerful lights bled through my closed eyelids, burning the back of my head. With each flash, the sound of an object darting through the air hit the floor before us, each shot approaching our very location. No. Cannon's cries pleaded. No. Cannon's cry paled out amidst the sound of gunfire? And she just gets lit up. All I could see between the firing flashes was the silhouette of her body convulsed violently, each hit pulling her body apart. A sharp object narrowly darted past me, tearing through my coat and breaking skin. Blood began to ooze from the cut. I heard Cannon collapse before me. I started toward the sound and tried to find her, guiding my hand through the darkness in vain. Pinpricks met my hand. Needles. And I felt around at the ground and picked one up. It was a small, near invisible thing on its own, but when shot at high speeds, the needles became lethal. Another series of flashes fired up, blinding me. Between flashes, I saw the mangled body of what used to be Cannon, now disfigured, bloody mass. Ugh. The metallic taste of blood filled my mouth and I began to choke. A sharp pain melted its way through my throat. I buckled immediately. Pangs of anguish overwhelmed my senses. If I was wrong about this, if I was terribly, absurdly, ridiculously wrong about this, then I just put my life in danger for nothing. But... following this dead end, there had to be something strange. I lost my grip on the situation. I only felt pain. The terrible sensation shocked into my body, into my blood. An inflamed ache rushed through every inch of my body. If there's something bothering you, just spit it out already. Huh? I gasped at my throat. My skin was undamaged. Only the startling phantom pain of a needle that pierced my throat remained. I wiped the sweat from my brow and met the gaze of concerned faces staring back from my exclamation. Cannon, alive once more, rivaled my panic gaze with her own stoic expression just a few feet away from me. She was still waiting for our vote. Are you okay? Swallowing hard, I finally realized the purpose of these harrowing, strange occurrences. They gave me a glimpse of everything that could go wrong. Somehow, I had managed to escape death twice. Why was I able to experience an alternate history like that? I couldn't begin to fathom an explanation. I was trembling. My heart was hammering in my chest. God damn, bro. A firing squad, no lethal injection? Not here. Not here, Viewbot, not here. Truly, we face very, very deadly kinds of executions. But if this were anything like the moment before entering the testing chambers, I steadied my breath. Okay, so we don't go all the way back to then, so we can't like pull a Ray Zero and just kind of save everyone. There is a limit to how far back we go when we die. There had to be something useful that in that moment of time between coming to a consensus on the culprit and being executed. If I gathered what I learned from the two occurrences, ending in death, perhaps I can, I clicked for no reason. Perhaps I can put together a picture of what could have occurred. As far as the group was aware, the only clues we had to work with were found were found on the crime scene, and there weren't many to begin with. Forte's body had multiple lacerations clustering in one small area due to Sei hiding the gunshot wound inflicted by Cannon. He also had a small pool of blood near the back of his head. However, the other source of blood near the back of his head was what bothered me. Nothing clearly visible caused the harm. I didn't know how to explain the life-saving phenomena I just experienced, but I knew I had to take the opportunity it gave me to find the truth. Look, I still don't think we have the full picture. Please, I can't vote for Cannon. So you're implicating Sei as well? Not exactly, but her presence is important. If you think there's something missing, just shout it out. We won't know what's going on in that head of yours if you just keep stopping the trial for no reason. That's the problem. I don't know where to start. I couldn't yet sway the group with the absurd notion that Cannon would be wrongfully executed. I didn't have the means to explain how I knew such a thing. I just think we ought to continue deliberating the details. There's something bothering me. If you could just entertain me with this, I'd like to further address the lacerations. While Cannon admitted she shot Forte, she didn't know whether or not it was the shot that killed him for certain. That's what I've been saying! I don't think you needed to get yourself killed to bring this up. I saw her shoot him. But let's say the shot itself didn't kill him right away. As far as I could tell, the stab wounds and the subsequent hidden gun wound weren't near his vitals. They were around his lower abdomen. And remember, the condition for lifting the darkness was to kill. Cannon, when did the lights go out? They went out seconds after I fired and just before the elevator doors closed on me. There's also the fact that the big man himself, Zero, said, yeah, this is a punishment for everyone, meaning that this potentially, like, the death could have been caused by the boy just falling. He just fell and cracked his head open and he died. They went out after I fired and just before the elevator doors closed on me. The elevator was still working though. I couldn't see a thing, but I felt the cab move, bringing me back down to the foyer without a hitch. After I arrived on the foyer, I waited out the darkness in the elevator cab before running out to the atrium. She waited out of the darkness, and the darkness fell seconds after she fired. Lyle, we were just as immobilized in the testing chambers as Cannon was in the elevator cab and had to wait out the darkness as well, so... That means Forte wasn't killed instantly. Sei must have taken advantage of his injured state and taken the dagger from him with little resistance and retaliated. He must have fallen weak from Cannon's shot, and when the lights went out, Sei stabbed him, finishing him off to lift the darkness. In that case, what you said about Cannon... In that case, what you said about covering for Cannon was a lie. So you really stabbed Forte to death? Missy knows it. Cannon saw it too. I saw? I turned the dagger on Missy first. She has the scar to prove it. Forte would be next. What are you talking about? I only saw Forte with a dagger facing off against you. Then when did Sei acquire the dagger? If Forte didn't push Missy away in time, she would have fallen instead. No, you can't mean that. And why not? I planned that attack after I saw you pin the dagger into the wall. I took it. If you were planning to attack, why didn't you do so why didn't you do so sooner? You had the perfectly opportune time when we were all in the elevator going to the trial grounds. You're asking why I didn't attack sooner? What was stopping you from doing... Oh, okay, we're just like going by very quick. That's enough. Let me reread through that because they do that automatic like scroll when they do that, like everybody cutting off one another. So Say's like, you're asking why I didn't attack sooner? And then Lyle's like, what was stopping you from doing so at every private opportunity? And Missy's like, I'm challenging you to convince me of your malicious intent. It's not something I wish to hear, but... And then Cannon is like, this doesn't make sense. Why would Say protect me? Only to endanger herself. That's enough. We're not getting anywhere like this. But this discussion, it's impossible to make heads or tails of it. We had a culprit pinned from the start, Say. But we drew out the trial only for Cannon to take ownership of the hidden gun wound, and now we were really back to square one. Say met the requirement for lifting darkness and hit the gun wound, so we would vote wrong. Neither me, Missy, nor Echo were at the scene, so basing our conjecture on the testimonies of the two most suspicious people is it's impossible. Damn it! How are we supposed to find the truth based on their word and word alone? Now, I understood Lyle's frustration, but barring all discussion so far, there has always been an obvious culprit staring right at our face, but something inside me keeps resisting the easy answer. I simply couldn't accept Say as the culprit. I had to think. Those strange occurrences ending in death, I learned something I normally would not have. With no tangible proof of what I needed to express, I put faith in the facts learned from my memories of the events, hoping something would work out. I put my faith in believing no one here could kill. Not after what happened twice already. Was it twice or 3 times that people... Okay, I can't remember how many. Yeah, this is like the third quote-unquote murder. Just why did I experience those strange occurrences? In the 2 scenarios, my life was gravely threatened. And yet, I stood here with the memories of those events. After all, they had to happen for a reason, right? It was far-fetched, but I had to utilize what I learned with the hopes that the facts learned would guide me in the right direction. I have to think about what I've come to know. The information I learned when we visited Cyrus's room, it was about the killing game. The killing game was an experiment to see who would survive and win, to overcome the ultimate students. In the game, participants were paired with others close students to create friction between relations. The game was set up to sow chaos and disorder. Sei was listed alongside the former student, Akihiko, now known as the Zero. After Missy, Forte, and I came to a dead end in our search, we discovered Cannon had been killed. Missy and Forte fell shortly after, then I, the last one standing, heard the voice of the assailant, Sei. She pleaded for escape, but in my near-death haze, I could recall Zero himself telling Sei, "You don't want the prize," that even after eliminating everyone, killing wasn't the answer. I was whisked back in time somehow, back to the decision that would bring me to this point alive. Those were things I learned before falling to my desire. Demise, not desire. Blah, that was definitely a what did they call it? Freudian slip or something? A Freudian slip. Falling to my demise. Falling for a sparse moment, that is. Finding new life mysteriously breathed into me, I wandered a different path, utilizing information that I learned from my previous experience. As that information had led us here to contemplate another murder. Foolish to think that the experience would be my last, as I would come to relive near death once again when our discussion became deadlocked. This time I risked emulating that strange dead-end occurrence to pursue the thing I believed was missing from Forte's murder. It was a brief experience, but I saw the method Zero used to dispose of Cannon, small, near-invisible needles shot at high speed, and little else from before returning here. Yeah, that death doesn't really relate to her. Not too well, at least. I forgot to mute my thing again. My Discord. Let me do that. There we go. Yuki was informing me that the moth that was in his room had awoken. Alright, continuing on. The truth felt close, but I felt an apprehension rising in my chest. Say, tell me, what happened after Cannon shot Forte? What happened? Moth aren't that bad. Gnats, though? Yeah, but Yuki seemed pretty chill with Jeff, as we now are calling it. And apparently Jeff has awoken from its slumber and is now probably flying around or walking around or crawling around. I do not know. I would freak the hell out because I'm kinda... I get the very strong reactions when I have bugs near me. What happened? I stabbed Forte. How many times do I have to tell you? You stabbed Forte, but did you kill him? Isn't it obvious? It's not. Cannon claims that before she shot you, Forte was the last one in possession of the dagger. The lights went out shortly after, and from that point, no one can really say who had the dagger. And though the dagger was plunged into Forte's abdomen, giving us the impression of it being the murder weapon, I can't help but think otherwise. Primarily because of the scenario we found ourselves in. There was constant pressure put on us with personalized motives spread throughout our exploration. That is, until Lyle's final personalized motive. With heavy darkness to stoke our fears, we would be scrambling until someone acted maliciously from the previous set pressure. But I couldn't even set my own hand in front of my face, let alone begin to think of a plan to kill and get away with it, so to carry it out to fruition would be near impossible. If the entire building was indeed plunged in such thick darkness, I can't help but think, how could any of us have killed Forte? That's an interesting phrasing. Yeah, what are you onto? Recall when our group split, Zero mentioned something interesting. So you all decided to split up, huh? That's right, no sweat off my back, figuratively speaking, of course. Thanks to your fancy bracelets, I can still locate where you are. There's no escaping for you quite yet. It seems he is able to know our whereabouts within the building. In this case, he was able to locate us from our bracelets. Are you implying Zero has taken moves to actively, though discreetly, participate in the game with us? There's no going back. Yes, I believe Zero might have a hand in killing Forte. That's nonsense. Have you lost your mind? Where are you getting this theory? I know you want us to entertain you, but this is a little mush, isn't it? Lyle, please, I know it's a lot to ask, but I want you to trust me. I'd like to hear where you're getting this funny idea as well, Echo. Lyle's intense leer burned through me, but he fell silent and allowed me to continue. He must be observing my next unpredictable move, just like when I suggested knowing the testing chamber code. Zero idly gazed back at me, a complete poker face masking whatever scheme he was plotting. I felt a strange sense of conviction that connecting an execution method with the mysterious pool of blood that was behind Forte's head would lead me to the answer I was seeking. Okay, so if only we had checked. So what, like he got shot in the back of the head by Zero? Is that what we're going with? I had to use what I learned from Cannon's execution that end. The fact that Zero prepared a barrage of needles. It's like Missy said, the more he talks, the faster his options will diminish. If Zero's readying himself for an explanation, this way may open to draw something out of him. Zero, I want the truth that you're the one behind this. The truth? Let's see if you can find it. You're making a ridiculous accusation, you know. How could I possibly kill a student? I can only operate from within the courtroom. Zero is goading me. His voice is unwavering, but there's a statement somewhere that I can use. Well, that's where this whole thing happened. It's like, right? It's like happening in the courtroom. Yeah, that's where we are, bro. That's where the murder happened, if you forgot. Zero is goading me. Yeah, I know he is. Please click and don't do the thing. There we go. As far as we've seen, you can only operate from within the courtroom, but that's where the body turned up, isn't it? And that much was obvious. The announcement summoned us to the courtroom, and there's no evidence of the crime being moved from one place to another. What weapon do you suppose I could have killed him with? The only weapon available was the dagger. Say I admitted to using it. And I definitely didn't electrocute or use supersonic on anyone this time around. Face it, there's nothing in the courtroom that shows I had anything to do with this. The location. Yeah, it's like you have the entire courtroom and the like hidden stuff behind the doors, bro. It's true that there was nothing in the courtroom, but there are things beyond the courtroom walls. Namely the tools used for execution that you clearly have some agency over. You conveniently omitted the cause of death because it would have implicated someone not from our group. This red guy's kind of annoying. Yeah, you could say that again. Based on what everyone else knows, it sounded far-fetched, but to me, it was the only thing that made perfect sense. Zero seemingly had no power in the courtroom, proven by the fact that during the two trials, the holograms proposed had been purely cosmetic. That said, the machinery hiding behind the trial walls themselves could very well suffice not only as tools for executions, but for murder in and of itself. And that's how it's going to be, huh? So you're implying I took Forte beyond the walls, executed him, and dumped the body back out? Why wouldn't I just execute him and leave his body with the rest of the punished students? He didn't do anything to receive an execution anyway. I'm not so heartless, you know? You're missing a piece of your argument. Echo, this discussion is going nowhere. What would Zero even have to gain from participating? I have nothing to gain from intervening. And in my position, I certainly have nothing to lose. If the ultimate prize is so desirable that even an arbiter of the game would want to win it, why didn't Zero simply eliminate us from the start? Lau brought a good point. I haven't unearthed anything useful from Zero yet. And it's within reason that if Zero wanted the prize as well, we wouldn't have survived this long. So there has to be a reason why. Yeah, nothing to lose. It's like, yeah, you have nothing to gain, but like you're not losing some. Well, maybe you are losing something actually, you know, since you have a connection to say. You know, like don't think we forgot about that one. Hang on. Nothing to lose. The location and the method was clear to me, but the motivation stumped me. I had to concentrate. If Zero truly had nothing to gain by executing us all, why did he only carry out a plan to murder one of the game participants? If he had nothing to gain, there must be something he didn't want to lose, something he wanted to keep. Something or someone? Zero and Zay. they have some sort of connection, and that very connection could become the motive I'm looking for, yeah. I mean, it kind of seems so, because I remember that Echo was repeatedly kind of mentioning to themselves that when Zero was talking, he kept acting weird, like he kept sounding weird and off. And we know he especially did so once in the timeline in which Sei actually like murked everybody and was like, you don't want the ultimate prize, which, like I said, my assumption is that the ultimate prize is to be put in the stasis pod and basically get AI'd. And even though Zero is technically a sort of malignant version of Akihiko, from what Gaia has told us, there is no reason to believe that Zero does not have the same protective, and I'm saying this in a loose way, like, sure, Zero is a more fucked up version of Akihiko, but there's no reason to believe that Zero wouldn't have a similar protective instinct over Sei, because at the end of the day, Zero comes from Akihiko, so it's like, there might be something there. Maybe. And that's like the only real link we have. Canon noted seeing Forte with the dagger last, just before the lights went out, and since Sei is unscathed and the room showed no signs of a gunshot in the walls, it's clear Forte must have taken a shot. If Forte had the dagger the entire time, he could have used it against Sei, and if Zero was observing his offense against her, then he would have reason to consider Forte a threat to Sei. That has to be it. It's impossible for me to assert with any certainty what exactly occurred in the courtroom. However, I can think of a reason why it happened. You're right. And it's not for the ultimate prize. Like Lau said, if the ultimate prize was so desirable, why wouldn't Zero get rid of us all from the beginning? In that case, when the ultimate prize has nothing to do with why Zero acted. Although he isn't strictly a participant, he's still involved. That involvement, there's something connecting us as the participants to him as an overseer. Lyle, you have something very important that will complete the picture. The note. It reads, if you recognize one of these symbols depicted, then you have finally found me and are safe. Please do not speak of the note's existence, trust no one but yourself. Lau discovered this note in the pantry after seeing Sei duck in there for a brief moment. Sei must have known something as early as the third day. No, even earlier, since Zero's emblem was shown on the second day. It's like Canon said, when the killing game announcement came on, Sei must have been clued in on the person behind it. She knows all this time and played us for fools by ducking out of confrontation. Sei's the other insider. Her student profile didn't explicitly document any involvement in the game, but her files were paired along with Akihiko's, the one we currently call Zero. On the second day, when Zero summoned us to the atrium to present a special gift, this note must have been it. Based on what we know, it's now clear that Sei must have some insight on who Zero is. However, instead of thinking Sei was a spy within our ranks and conniving with Zero to plot against us, Zero is the one trying to bridge the gap between participant and arbiter to intervene with Sei's safety. Huh? Wait, what? But even if that's the case, why would Sei go out of her way to direct the attention of implicating herself as the culprit? Isn't that action in diametric opposition of what you're implying? No, I killed Forte. He deserved it after all. She would be forsaking her own safety by placing the blame on herself, the false culprit, causing us to vote incorrectly and inevitably cause us all to die. Zero has nothing to do with it. With Sei and what Sei did to Forte during this trial was on her own volition, shattering the connection between her and Zero. If he killed to keep her safe, she completely threw the sentiment out the window. I'm the only culprit. Vote for me. Well, Zero, what do you have to say about all this? You'll never know the answer if you don't vote. If Sei's confessed, what's stopping you from accepting her judgment as truth? You want to believe your friend, don't you? What's stopping me? I want to believe that she could never do something like that. That's it. And just like your completely out of this world conjecture about me interfering, you have no tangible basis to trust her either. Such irresponsible thinking could lead you to an execution, you know. Zero wasn't going to be shaken so easily, but the fact that his arguments are lofty and just as intangible gave me some solace that I could turn the trial around. I could do so by forcing on the subject of his motivation. Say, I'm not going to vote for you. Yeah, and I imagine Say is probably in turn trying to keep him safe somehow, even though he technically is safe because he's not even, like, he's the executioner and judge. So, like, so what if we vote him? Like, nothing's gonna happen to the guy. I guess we could go downstairs and, like, unplug him. But, like, Gaia is probably gonna be against that if we do try to do that, because she's like, this isn't like him. Zero is just a version of him that's more like rogue AI kind of stuff than the actual Akihiko. Assuming we can believe her, which we kind of don't have any reason not to, other than, like, she may be a previous winner of a game and won the ultimate prize, which in my theory is the whole AI capsule thing. You're the only one who knows what happened for certain. So please, tell us why. Come on, you can't let all that drip you got go to waste. Look at you, drip the fuck out. I love that coat and that sweater shirt underneath. I'd wear that shit. Why are you trying so hard to make us vote incorrectly? You can't possibly want us all to get executed, do you? That's exactly what I want. Complete execution. Okay, well, she's on some different type of timing now, I suppose. Did I press the right button? There we go. Even though Canon admitted to something she didn't do, I went with it for the sake of redirecting the vote. Regardless of if he voted for her or voted for me, it was going to be wrong and we'd all face execution. And we would finally be freed from this horrible game. Say, you can't possibly believe leading us to our demise is the right answer. Why not? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Pandora is gone, Art is gone, Cyrus is gone, Ashley is gone. Yeah, she's, shit, I told you she's not doing too well, poor girl. And now Forte is gone, because of me. I can't stand any of this. The pain and suffering, it's endless. Zero killed Forte to protect me, but I don't care. I don't know who Zero is anymore. I came all this way to find the shell of someone I knew. When will this nightmare end? When can we escape? Even if we don't kill, someone dies and we're all still stuck. We're trapped, and I'm tired of believing in something that will never happen. I have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Why keep going? What's the point of fighting? Everyone's slipping out of my fingers, and I'll be left alone. Alone? Say, look around you. You're not alone. What? You say you have nothing left to lose, but what about the people standing before you? We aren't enduring the pain, the guilt, the torment of surviving for nothing. Endurance, survival? Please, we can figure this out together. It's pointless as at the 11th hour. So what? Our endurance is worthless. Say is spiraling. Yeah. I think she's been spiraling for a long while. This is like very dark. I need to convince her that she's not alone. That this is all worth fighting. Okay, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, just like spam. There we go. I have to spam the talk button. But a complete execution won't solve the problem. There's another way out. I'm certain of it. There must be, so please help me. No, I can't. Let me go and forgive. I'm getting you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I can't really read while I'm trying to like spam the button. Forget. I want to stop this game too, but we shouldn't forget the turmoil our friends went through. Pandora, Art, Cyrus, Ashley, and Forte? We can't simply abandon our memories of them in the past. I'm not going to stop the game by voting for you. I'm not going to abandon my memory of you either. Me? But I don't understand. After all I've done, it's hopeless. That's not true. we gotta cope. Spill all that copium everywhere, right now. It is desperately needed. Pull up with the copium truck. The truth of hopelessness was staring us right in the face. There was no denying it. But I felt a desire to combat the terror that hung over us, and above all, after experiencing what Sei did to us, out of desperation, I felt a responsibility to vouch for her innocence, the only way I knew how. Sei, you're not alone. You're here with us, as your friends. And you're not alone in feeling scared and hopeless. Everyone's trying their best to keep their head above the water. I don't know what will happen after this, or if we'll make it out, but we have to try. But I did a horrible thing to Forte. Isn't this ending what I deserve? It's not your fault. How can you know that? I believe you. Please, I don't want to see us go through anything like this again, so you're the only one who knows for certain who the culprit is. The game will surely be over if we uncover this last truth. After all, you didn't kill Forte. How could I? Of course I didn't kill him. I was so scared. Echo was right about the motives. The fact that little by little everyone was being pushed some way or another into distress. I felt the pressure mounting. Who was to know what sort of motive would be delivered? True, yeah, it's a little bit terrifying. I took the dagger to protect myself. I couldn't possibly know what was going on in anyone's head after those motives, could I? I wasn't even relieved that I didn't get a motive because I couldn't help but think about everyone else's, that everyone would be given a reason to turn on one another. And when Forte said he would take matters into his own hands, I feared for my life. I froze after I slashed at Missy and he took the dagger. What Kenan saw was only half the story. He did appear to have the advantage over me, but it was just a performance for the only person in the audience. The lights went out. Darkness, Lao's gift, direct from his fears to you. Only murder will lift the darkness. What the? Forte and I were plunged into a never-ending darkness. Even though I didn't move, I couldn't even tell where the floor was. Well, somehow he found me. Don't move a muscle. Don't move a muscle. I should do one last Forte line. Don't move a muscle. And it seemed he quickly took action to meet the darkness lifting condition. Finally, Forte had the dagger pointed at my throat. I could feel the chilling cold steel just inches away. Finally, I thought time had stopped. Forte was still a stone with the dagger poised for my end. He whispered something so low I thought I had imagined it. A stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. Ah. And then Forte just fell. And then the lights returned. When the lights returned, I saw his body lying face up. I saw a pool of blood was forming behind his head. I looked up to see the trial grounds walls closing. I looked up to see the trial grounds walls close steadily, and the Zero hologram with this awful, satisfied expression. He made a gesture like he was holding an invisible camera. Zero clued me in on who he was going to mark as the culprit, even though Zero killed Forte himself. Zero planned to manipulate the outcome of the trial. I could see the trial play out in my head. Forte's gun wound would have been the decisive clue. The pool behind his head probably thought to be just from the falling impact. That's a smart plan, not to be fair. And she did go along with it for a little while. I couldn't believe it. Forte was killed because of me, and Cannon was going to be framed because of me. And it kinda seemed like maybe Forte was also planning to die, because he was like, hey, every man has a part to play, and mine's gonna be a sad one. No wonder he just, because otherwise, why would he have just like stayed still with a knife to her neck if he didn't know that something was gonna happen, right? Because he was part of the people who knew of the information that Sei and Zero were connected, so. I picked up the dagger Forte dropped. If the culprit was never going to be around, I was going to make the trial easy and direct the blame toward me so the wrong vote and executions following could happen right away. Then, we wouldn't have to suffer a long trial. And this dreadful game could finally come to an end. After all, it's my fault Forte was pushed to do such a thing to himself. Killing is the only answer here, so he was forced into a corner, using me as bait to sacrifice himself to Zero. He went through those lengths for me? Why didn't he just kill me and be done with it? This is genuinely fucking depressing. This is genuinely so damn sad. I couldn't understand what happened. So I thought if I could lead the trial to an incorrect ending, then the game would end without me having to do that terrible thing. And we'd be free from this trap. But Zero saved me. He took you out of harm's way, out of harm's path. At least that's what he thought he was doing. Say, you knew that he was trying to manipulate the blame off you, so why did you still try to redirect the vote to yourself? Because I have nothing else to look forward to. I ended up here for one reason or another, and all the signs have pointed towards demise. Because even after all that, whoever that Zero is, he isn't my friend anymore, and now I have nothing. Say, you must have known by now that we're here for you. Missy's right. We've been trapped, that much is certain, but we're not isolated. We have each other, and together we can help each other build up hope for escape. You don't need to act alone. Nakahiko, we both wanted to save someone. You don't truly think this was the answer, do you? Manipulating the trial like this? It's unruly. Tch. Akihiko isn't here anymore. Since giving himself up to the game, his consciousness has been long gone. So, being so disillusioned by the way he and his fellow Ultimates were treated, he dropped everything and let himself be consumed with despair. It's poetic, isn't it? He gave himself up because this game was the only thing he could cling to. It gave him purpose. In fact, Gaia is also holding onto the killing game. Can you really trust her? After all, she oversaw the game just as I am. Before you released her, that is. All she did was watch. Watch and let Pandora die. You have no idea what a sacrifice I went through. I see that the idea that you think I idled and watched her die. Haha, and what have you done since to prevent it? You didn't try to stop her assailant like I did you? So, do you think Gaia is on your side? Spouting empty sentiments and rolling over, doing nothing but watch the game carelessly take lives. I'll tell you what. Your friend Gaia here did something very interesting. Don't you dare don't you dare demonize what I did. Excuse me? I never killed anyone in my game. You, on the other hand, why, you disgust me. I invited you to open the foyer doors so one of these fools could deliver your punishment. They have no reason to trust you after all. There are no rules save for one. Those who kill should not get away with it. Let me give it one more try. Gaia isn't your friend. Not a chance. She has played this game once before, and will do anything to keep herself from losing going forward. And even from the winner's circle, she did what she could to gain the advantage. She's the one who trapped you in this ship. Ship? Even if someone won this game, there would be nowhere to go. You're completely sealed in. Left to die in isolation, confined in these walls. It's crazy, isn't it? In fact, trapping you all may be a ploy for her to kill again. Why not? It'll prove once more that she's deserving of being called an ultimate. You don't understand. I did what I had to. Oh, of course I don't understand. You're the one giving hope to these people, yet all you've done is cause trouble. Unfortunately for you, I control what occurs in this vicious cycle. And I'm using this power to keep safe. Keep me safe? You should have never brought me here in the first place. I know. I was tricked. This game is a farce. I won the killing game that preceded this one and received the ultimate prize. The prize of a lifetime of suffering. That's the prize? The prize. Within a group of incredibly talented individuals, should someone defeat their fellow ultimate students and come out on top, their efforts and achievements would be highly prized, wouldn't they? To see who would come out on top, that was the experiment of the Preservation Project was conducting. The project wanted to gather the very best of the best, for the sake of the future, as it were. The Despair program has ruined whatever semblance of Akihiko remained, creating this Zero persona. Zero was the false name you ran under in the previous game. After all, it's no surprise to me that it's being used again under the guise of a killing game operator. Despite that, Akihiko's will to protect Sei persists in the Zero memory. Forte must have taken the risk to see whether or not the entity connected to Sei would act. I hardly recognize him anymore. His voice is the same, but I don't know who that is anymore. There's no trace left. That's right. He's a shell of his former self, and the game and all its terrors now inhabit the ultimate radio host. Aki wanted to erase the wrongdoing he committed in his game and... User... ready? Okay, that's important. Stop! The hologram crackled in and out. The program was fighting itself right before our very eyes. I have no clue what this could be saying, I'll be honest. Your efforts are wasted. You gave yourself up to despair, and yet you still try to deliver a signal of hope? You defied your own actions, the very self-preservation actions that saved you in the last game. What happened to this selfishness? I can't... Tia Al. I'll bury you. The arbiter we called Zero was fighting itself, its current form and former form, trying to make sense of its own actions. Oh, now he's going off when it comes to the numbers. Oh, what's happening? A conflict we cannot control. I have a last-ditch effort prepared, if he cannot just overcome the darkness. The lights shuddered as we watched Zero's fight unfold. Heh! The Zero entity fought its way to dominance, greeting us with its haunting grin. Well, I guess you caught me, huh? Fine, the jig is up. I won't resist since I've been thoroughly caught in the act by some triumph of hope or whatever nonsense you want to admit. After all, I wouldn't be doing your efforts justice to keep fighting back after you went through so much trouble. It must have been some rotten luck that you got out of this one, huh? Who are you, Echo? I don't know who you are. I don't know who you. A talentless nobody. I don't know how you, a talentless nobody, managed to realize the trick I pulled off. By all accounts, you should have all been executed by now. After all went according to my manipulations, Cannon should be a pin cushion and the rest of you dropped into an incinerator. Although that's what stopped me from letting that happen. I'll execute myself and bring you all with me. Don't you dare. This is the last show with your host, Zero, signing off today's cast with Eternal Dead Air. The lights bloomed violently, oversaturating the trial grounds with a blast of glaring heat. Damn it, no! A tremor tore through the room, the sound of metal creaking filled the halls, and the lights flickered, dizzying as we all struggled to gain footing. Everyone, get down and cover your head and neck. Everyone, we all dove to the floor, each quake jolting us to and fro with ease. Just getting dragged around probably like rag dolls. Kadunk. And the shaking came down to a low rumble, and the ground eventually settled into a stillness once more. The lights returned to a dim glow, and the five of us cautiously rose to our feet. The tower grounds were quiet. Oh, where's the bastard Zero? Lau leapt to his feet, darting around the trial grounds for signs of the Arbiter. Are you alright? A concerned, static-filled hologram of Gaia illuminated the room. We're fine, no thanks to you. I'm sorry, I didn't anticipate the superstructure would have buckled under pressure, but seeing as Zero overloaded the system, the adverse effect of his self-inflicted execution may have sped up the process. What are you talking about? That doesn't explain where you were and why you're never helpful. Lau, come on. We're all fine, aren't we? I helped Cannon to her feet, as Missy did with the same would say. Are you okay, Cannon? Yeah, a little shaky, but I'm in one piece. The one piece is real! Thanks. Missy? Faye? Faye, say? We're alright. And that is a relief to hear. So that's it, right? Huh? Zero is gone. The game is over. We're done here, aren't we? So let's get the hell out of here. Hang on. Sure, he's gone, but there are so many more unanswered questions. First of all, he said we're on a ship. Even if we get out, we're still stuck drifting out on sea. If there was a wholly unknown testing chamber below us this entire time, it's within reason that there's a helm hidden somewhere as well. Gaia, was it? He said you were responsible for such a thing. Is this true? Gaia sighed. I will answer your questions in due time. For now, I would like to ask that you all rest for a spell before coming down to the testing chambers. It's been a long few days for you all. What, and let you jump ship through a concealed exit passageway while our guard is down? No way. Lal, I understand your desire to push forward, but a break would allow us to sort our thoughts. Please, I'm not going anywhere. I will await your arrival. Gaia's hologram clips out as the rest of us shuffle idly. Man, what a fucking day, huh? Just what a bloody day. What a bloody day it is for all these lovely people. So I presume Zero Akihiko is now dead. I don't know what to think about that. I didn't think he was gonna be able to fight his way into possession again, but I guess the one good thing about Zero is that he follows his own rules, so we caught him in the act. He offed himself, I guess. We can assume that if we go down to his chambers, he's just gonna be flatlined in his bed. But the question I have now is plain. Like, okay, if we know there have been like 50, 40 something games, we've only met two people who have won. Where the hell are the rest of them? Because 50 something games, that means there should be 50 something people that are like AI and whatnot, right? As like the ultimate prize. And there were more chambers in the room, but we weren't told about anybody else being in the like the pods. Just Pandora, not Pandora, Gaia and Akihiko. Zero. Please don't say bloody. You sound like listen, it's a phrase I picked up, alright? I like saying it. It's very expressive. If there's one thing I could say about the oi mate person, it's that their words are very, very funny and useful at times. Allow me to use the restroom. I shall return shortly to continue the shenanigan of that is this story. I return. Sorry that took a while. I had to not only use the bathroom, but get myself a beverage of wata from the very rivers of Babylon itself, because goddamn, it's hot in here. it's proper warm today. Proper warm. 80 something outside, I think. And in here, it just feels stuffy. I have the fan going, so I don't even know if you could hear that in the background. Probably a little bit, but oh well. Let us continue with this wild little tale, and actually I'm quite curious to see how we may prevail, assuming we do. W slur. Is everything is a slur to you? Is everything is a slur to you, Viewbot? Lau huffs and shrugs as he made his way to the elevator. Looks like that was the end. Yes, of course it is. You're a Twitterite. There was no vote, no execution, just the end. Although Zero's destruction provided some relief, I still felt uneasy. There was still so much uncertainty that was lurking before us. I sighed. The rest of us followed Lyle into the elevator, and together we returned to the foyer. As remaining 5 students left the trial grounds on the in the shadows for good. Vive Studantes remain. So that's why they had the bloody anchor as a title thing. It's because we're on a ship. Well, which ocean are we on? Can we at least know that? Lau, Missy, Kenan, and Say and myself. Only 5 of us remain. Our group, cut brutally in half by the game we were forced to participate in, found its final survivors. In that very same order, we trudged out of the elevator cab and returned to the foyer. I feel like somebody should keep an eye on Gaia anyways. It's just a smart thing to do. Just one person go down there. I'm going ahead. Don't wait up. I want answers. Of course, it's gonna be Lyle. Gaia had better fess up about all this. Hang on, Lyle. I want to talk to her first. Alone. Why? I just need to know why she gave me a talent. How could she know something like that? Something I'm not even aware of. Why me? Please, I need to know what's going on. Alright. But being an ultimate student isn't all it's talked up to be. It's a world of misfortune. I know. Niall shuffled off toward the foyer's door's entryway. The rest of the students stood by as well. It seemed no one else was quite ready to go down. I wondered what was going through everyone's mind right now. Well, Cannon, you good? Cannon, are you okay? I don't know. Cannon bit her nails, a sullen expression taking over. Maybe it's guilt or something, but something in me wishes I did actually kill Forte. Why? I don't want to sit with this feeling, this melancholy I'm feeling right now. And I always told myself that I was just a spectator whenever I took photos. It was just easier to detach myself from the emotion of the subject. There's something more tolerable in seeing someone else experience what is occurring in a photo. But it was thanks to you that we found the answers in those awful trials. I guess. And you didn't actually kill him with that gunshot either, so there's no reason to feel guilty. It's not that simple. I know. But you shouldn't wallow in those what-if feelings. It's too painful just to bottle up. You help us out a lot, really. I suppose, but I never wanted to get it so involved. I never got the opportunity to do this before, all this, but I wanted to apologize properly after I turned your photo down. Don't worry about it. In fact, just forget it. I didn't particularly like the photo anyway. No, I shouldn't have been so harsh. I stuffed my hands in my coat pocket. Huh? Somehow I found a torn photo in my pocket. I lined the two halves together. Here, you should keep it. I know you weren't really close with anyone, but... well, I just hope you know we still think of you as a friend. Cannon carefully took the two pieces from me and sighed. Thanks. Let's get out of here alive. There we go, a smile's on her face at the very least. Alright, let's see what going over here. Say... are you okay? I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anyone cared. The only answer I could see was to have it all come to an end, once and for all. If we had died, then we wouldn't have to suffer anymore. It would be an easy way out, but through that suffering, we'll find things to live for as well. I'm sorry, again. You don't have to be sorry. I understand it must have been frightening to be alone. I mean, I'm right here with you. But we're not alone now. You have me, Lyle, Missy, and Cannon. If only we could have Forte, god damn it. I miss him. Even in the end, he was still out here trying to help us out. Sei turned to me with a gentle smile. I returned a small gesture. We'll be okay. We'll make it out of here soon enough. It's strange. When you say we'll be okay, it feels like it could be true. But what comes next? I don't know. I want to see Ashley's father. I think I have a responsibility to tell him what happened to her. And after that, I sighed. Well, one thing at a time. Let's just try to put all this behind us for now and focus on escaping. Sei nodded. Thank you, Echo. Thanks for what? You don't have to, but you care about everyone. I can see why Ashley wanted to protect you so much. Yeah. God, Ashley's fucking dead! So many characters. You know what's so fucking bad? It's like so many characters that you grow to like so many of them and they just fucking die. And it's like, fuck. Fuck everything, bro. Just fuck it. You know? It's like, fuck this game. Fuck the whole thing about the ultimate students. Just fuck it all, bro. So, the game is over. One can only assume Gaia probably knows more about the situation, though. It gives me peace of mind to learn that none of us would perpetuate the mutual killing game. That said, she let out a weary sigh. Even my fortune has its limits. You say no one would perpetuate it, but Sei tried to further the game, didn't she? She went so far as to hurt you. Would you believe me if I said I didn't feel malice in her actions? Huh? Fear is a fiercely powerful tool that shakes us out of our most rational thought. The threat of life strikes the heart of any primal existence, doesn't it? Chalk it up to a knee-jerk reaction. I pose a potential dangerous question that caused Sei to react sporadically. Remember, she did have the dagger for a period of time before our entering the trial. She could have taken any open opportunity if she were driven by malice. An odd move, but it was her move nonetheless. And my move will be to forget it. To forgive it. What move is next for us, do you think? Missy pondered the question for a while. Little does Yellow know, there's one more character death. One more character death, I would be genuinely, like, bro, I'm throwing hands. Who would die? It's possible, the game is still not ended. Things could always get worse, but they could also always get better. I don't know, you never played them, me neither. You and I are on the same boat here. Missy pondered the question for a minute. No idea. We will reach land, presumably with Gaia's assistance, and once we're there, a myriad of options are laid before us. Do we rejoin family? Do we make moves to seek out the preservation project? And do we attempt to find the next of kin of those who died during the game? We're gonna have to stick together and figure all of this shit out because, my goodness, I don't think the preservation project is gonna just let us go. Especially if we can expose that they've been playing a murder game. Not that I think anything will be done about it, you know, admittedly, I think we're just like, they would get away with it because we're assuming these are ultra powerful people with hella influence, so even if we do expose them, it's not like we're gonna get away with it, or that they're gonna get it, like, it's not like they're gonna get, like, slammed in the, you know, in a cell or something. The future is uncertain. Yeah. And if we start small, we'll know where to go next, though. Let's focus our energy on escaping first. I could never have said it better myself. Are you going or what? Yeah, I'm just... I don't know what to expect. I believe Gaia will be willing to talk if that's what you're worried about. She has been isolated in the testing chambers for what I imagine must have been a long time. Yeah, but... do you think this could have been avoided? There's no use dwelling on that now. What's done is done. We should push forward. Burden on our shoulders. The epilogue, as early as the end. I have to say, I do like the chapter cover art. Congratulations. The rest of the class has been eliminated thanks to your tireless efforts. So I did it, eh? Yes, Zero, you won the ultimate prize. But may I ask something? Why did you use an alias? Isn't it obvious? This game is all about distrust. A fake name to stir up trouble, of course. It was too easy. I see. By utilizing that distrust, you earned yourself the final prize, Zero. Or rather, Akihiko Quartz, the ultimate radio host. And I did it! The prize is yours. You rightfully won your place and will join your friend in the winner's circle. You have become one of them. Huh? You have become the ultimate prize. Hold on, what are you talking about? Join her. That's Gaia. This is where she's been? She's been with us benefiting the world. That can't be right. And you will become another prized ultimate student alongside her. No. No, no, no. Hey, Gaia? No. Hello, Echo. I drifted into the testing chambers, spotting Gaia hovering over one of the capsules. A look of misery darkened her face. Are you okay? Gaia sniffed as she stared at the capsule containing Akihiko's body. It's impossible to tell if he was breathing, let alone alive. I'll be fine. I just recalled something. Where are the others? Oh, they're upstairs. I wanted to talk to you alone. Gaia remained silent, awaiting my next sentence. I didn't know where to start. She noticed my hesitance and left her place in front of the capsule. She gestured for me to sit at the workstation chair as she paced slowly in front of me. You must have a lot of questions. But first, if you'll spare me a moment to share my story. I nodded. I was curious to know what possibly could have led her to this place. The Preservation Project's killing game, known as an endeavor to create the ultimate prize. Distrust is to be expected on day one. The roster was always specifically curated to create pairs, testing the bonds between people. The crux of the game relies on broken bonds, applying pressure and motivation to spark the fire. From there, everything following will stoke the flames and catalyze. But seeing so many of you still survive despite the remaining time, I wonder what went differently. Nonetheless, I must say I'm pleased with the results. And I realize it's very difficult to find hope in things. In the darkest time, especially, is when our minds wander. thoughts lead astray, distorted by fear. Sorry, my words are getting blah. As a cartographer, I created maps for the places on our Earth that are far greater than my own being. The vast plains, the pulsing sea, the tunneling caves. To search somewhere in the greater picture for an ultimate good beyond my perceived world of existence, it's difficult. I realize Pandora and I are very different. She searched within individuals as I searched the world. However, we were looking to spark and inspire the same thing: hope. Despair will control your lives if you let the fear and darkness of your heart run amok. If you allow the inklings to escape, thoughts of terror will command the reins. How are we to combat such intrusions? Well, answers may vary wildly. Nonetheless, there are strategies in resistance. So I must admit something. The very thing that might be plaguing your concerns, your talent, the ultimate memory. I fabricated it in an attempt to foil Zero's preconceptions of the game's participants. My eyes widened. I had no words. The notion of an intangible talent like that was meant to play the part of a placebo in your mind. A talent Zero couldn't test the abilities of. One only you could measure. I had hoped it would give you some peace of mind, what with your worries of not belonging. But memory? Not exactly. To give the technical term, if you had the talent pertaining to memory, you would have been properly deemed the ultimate mnemonist. However, to give a succinct title would prompt Zero to test it. I could not allow it. What kind of test would he have given? The most immediately telling test would be speed cards. You are given a deck of shuffled cards in which you recite back all 52 in exact order as fast as possible. If you were an ultimate student, the fact would have been quickly dashed or proven with one simple test, and my counterattack against Zero would have failed. What? That said, I was purposefully non-specific in bestowing the ultimate memory upon you. I had hopes it would gel with Cyrus's falsified talent of charisma. I admit it was an interesting decision he made with that one. Wait. Although I had not been speaking, I felt breathless. So I was just a tool? I felt a stone drop in my stomach. No, a tool is a far cry from what I would call you. You exhibited a strength I did not expect, which was the ability to see through Zero's ploy. Strength? And more importantly, you served your fellow students. You are a wild card. You saved your fellow students, my bad. Saved, not served. Saved. I guess in a sense you served them by saving them, but that's neither here nor there. Or perhaps you do indeed wield a special ability. You maintain your constitution even under immense pressure and stress. Stop. Gaia was shocked into silence at my outburst. Gaia, I understand you must have been through a lot, I really do. But to manipulate us, around in this game as pawns, isn't that too cruel? Isn't that action in itself becoming just as bad as the people who trapped you here in the first place? Utilizing ultimate students as a means to an end? You are a product of their test. You should know better than anyone to toy with people's lives. Gaia clenched her hands together, and her eyes fell into a glazed state. I could see her straining to adjust her thoughts. She blinked slowly, and her gaze met mine once again. I apologize, putting you all through this. It wasn't meant to happen. It's true, I failed to cultivate the hope required to withstand pressures from the killing game. I failed Aki in the end. It's not that, I think you need to take a step back. People aren't just instruments to be molded for use. As far as I've seen, everyone here, ultimate student notwithstanding, has the potential to inspire hope. But we won't get anywhere by recklessly pulling strings, nor will we get any results by forcing a result. Gaia was silent and unmoving, as if she were holding her breath. I'm sorry. Oh, that's really the only thing she can say. I never understood Pandora's methods, but I think I see now what she was trying to do. What she was doing, sorry. Her ways of inspiring hope would start small and would crescendo and grow into something more powerful. Why did I not see it until now? It's too late to mourn the past. Some things, perhaps things are just meant to happen. All we can do is take small steps forward toward the future, each moment after Gaia sighed and nodded. She fell silent once again. Her expression was tight, her head wilted, heavy with regret. I returned upstairs to give Gaia some time. After a moment, I ushered the others down to the testing chamber. When I came back, Gaia was at the workstation, focused on the monitors once more. Missy and Sei lingered through the testing chambers, anxiously looking at the containment units and the monitors. Sei stiffened up before Akihiko's unit, but instead of reaching in any way, she remained unmoving. Zero said we're on a ship, yeah? So where's the bridge? Let's dock and get the hell out once and for all. If we're on a ship, well, wouldn't the bridge be near the trial grounds? Oh, I misclick. Wouldn't the ship be near the trial grounds? Zero did say the trial grounds was within the superstructure. HMSC Apothagum is much larger than we've seen. The collection of rooms you were privy to was only within the quarter deck. There are a number of bridges scattered across the ship, as are the other rooms. I don't care about the other rooms. Just tell us where the navigation station, command center, control room, whatever it is then. We have to steer this thing toward land so we don't die at sea. Zero said you got us into this mess, so you'd better help us get out of it. Gaia was quiet. She had an apprehensive look in her eyes, but remained typing at the workstation. That is, you will help us, right? Despite what she had gone through, Gaia's intentions was difficult to read. I couldn't tell whether or not she wanted to escape. You know what's something that hasn't been brought up? The whole fact that, like, part of the reason people got into the project in the first place was for, like, safety? Which, we never got an answer as to safety from what, other than, like, the world seemingly maybe, like, having some kind of, I don't know, like, natural disasters going on. So the fact that we were at sea on a ship is giving me, like, this is gonna sound weird, but, like, with the names and some of the names and whatnot, it's kind of giving me, like, almost Noah's Ark vibes. Like, is the rest of the world just fucking dead? And this is just like, I don't think the rest of the world is, like, literally dead, but, like, there has to be, like, enough going on for this to even be a thing in the first place. You know what I mean? For the whole goal of this to be like, oh yes, we need to create a system that is made from the best of the best for the future of humanity. Like, you don't try to build that kind of thing without the world kind of seemingly slowly coming to some kind of end. It was World War IV outside the maybe. We don't know shit. We haven't known shit. At first, when there was, like, a little earthquake, we thought it was like the land itself actually shaking, but it was the superstructure of the ship, now that we know it's a ship. So, like, I don't know. Gaius directed our attention to several monitors and pulled up several images of, I can't see a thing in these monitors. What are you showing us? Wait, what is that? It looks like some kind of squid? Oh god, don't tell me the ship we're in is some kind of fucking submarine. Well, that only makes sense. We are sailing on the sea. Yeah, but why can't we see anything outside? My feeling of dread froze my blood as I gazed at the near black screens. There are no clear views outside because we are at the bottom of the sea. Ah, Well, isn't this, very bad? What? I scuttled this ship. I did what I believed would be the most beneficial thing for all of us trapped here. That can't be. The atrium and trial grounds have both revealed the changing sky to us throughout the day. Simple glass projections. This ship is equipped with bleeding-edge technology. It should have come to no surprise, seeing as its engineering is also an ultimate student. As its engineer is also an ultimate student. And how exactly did you think sinking us all was going to help? What were you really planning? To bring us to our deaths at the bottom of the sea? We've been fooled again! It's nothing like that. This is how I prevent another group of students from falling into the hands of the Preservation Project's experiments. Gaia, tell us, what is the Preservation Project? I gulped. After all this time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to truly hear what the project was. The Preservation Project, it's a group that provides safe housing for ultimate students, protecting them from whatever could endanger them from utilizing their talents proper. That's what it is between the whispers between the ultimate students outside these walls. However, the truth of the matter is that everything you previously knew about the project is smoke and mirrors. The project activities, the safe house, the earthquakes themselves, okay, so the earthquakes now make sense, because, you know, we're at the bottom of the fucking ocean, so literally, like, tremors in the oceans are kind of normal. It's a front for the project's true intentions, to create the ultimate student. Something of this magnitude and effect would obviously require immense resources. The people responsible for taking art under their wing lobbied for the resources necessary to pull this off. And the powers that fabricated the scenario are a product of the ultimate students, just like ourselves. How is that possible? Thought manipulation. With the correct seed planted, one known as the ultimate psionic was able to cause distress, pushing students toward the project's so-called safe house. The reach of their ability requires two keys, something visual and something auditory. One of those seeds must have been the letter we all received. That was a distinct watermark. There was a distinct watermark at the bottom of the letter. That must have been the visual key. And the auditory key must have been Aki's voice casting the project information out. Therefore, the reason why Echo wasn't aware of any of this was because they never experienced exposure to either of these two keys. I was speechless. So, it was a mistake that I was included in this group at all. Damn. Not only was it a mistake for us to be included in this fucking shit, we're also now stuck in the bottom of the ocean. What the fuck? Oh god. And not saying that anybody else, like, I'm not saying the rest of these people, like, deserve to be here or anything like that, but, like, if there's anybody that deserves this the least, it's Echo. Echo's not even an ultimate student. This is why you stay at home. I'm sure that's why, and not because you're afraid of, the green things out there. Echo better start tweaking. But after being here to help everyone, it would be cruel to call this a mistake. Okay, well, he's not tweaking. They're not tweaking. Lyle and Missy took time with Gaia to survey the setting we found ourselves in. The ship, HMS Apothegum, was constructed with the vision of housing ultimate students in swaths of great comfort. The Preservation Project required it soon after its conception as the location for its experiment, a constantly moving location that would be difficult to reach by ordinary means. The conductors of the experiment were situated offshore to prevent loss of people in their own ranks. The game was to be remotely conducted with a proxy serving as the host. Zero occupied that service, offering himself to the side of despair after his own win. To combat their puppet strings, Gaia stripped the group of our whereabouts by taking control of their main asset and casting it far beyond their reach. Our underwater demise sat 3,000 meters beneath the pulsing, icy pressure of the North Atlantic Ocean. The closest land was the shore of Greenland. Damn. The situation felt bleak, but Gaia reassured us that somehow she had prepared for this, and she ideally wished to be able to save everyone. Regardless, 5 survivors was victory still in her eyes. Gaia's unrelenting search through the testing chamber's database revealed little about the Preservation Project group. She was frustrated but determined still. Though she was a winner, there had been others that had been removed from the testing chambers due to poor health or experimentation over exertion. I see, so that's why there was only Zero and her. Even among the array of winners, she had little company. The 6 of us were steeped in thought as Gaia continued employing herself in her search for knowledge. But it seemed that nothing damningly confidential was saved on location. Why would it be? The only thing we have is the fact that the killing games, we have the files from Cyrus's room, that the killing games are a thing, and that there has been many and many. 50-something, 40-something. Which is a lot of blood on their hands, I guess. Assuming it matters if we get it out. Exasperated by the lack of further information on the private group that held her captive, Gaia silently drew her up her arms in defeat. We should leave. There's nothing more I can do here. I wish to attack the land site and other subsequent lurking agents. I nodded. Lyle managed to stay patient this long and readied himself in anticipation to aid in proper escape. So 50 to 40, not even Fortnite numbers. I'm not talking murders, I'm talking like classes. And assuming each was filled with like roughly the same amount, which is 10 students, that's what? Damn near 500 to 400 people that were killed? If I can do math correctly, I don't know how math works. That's a lot of fucking people, dude. That's a lot of people. One moment. Alright, sorry about that. I just had to call the matriarch for something. All is well, no worries. Missy returned again after a short visit to to retrieve the personnel files Cyrus had. Canon was still as ever. And you're like, holy shit, yeah. You finally realize how fucked this is, right? Like, that's like a lot of students, bro. A lot of people died. We stood to exit the testing chambers, but Sei remained lost in thought. What about him? It was clear she didn't know how to address her lost friend turned despair vessel. Gaia paused. Her heavy eyes cast a dark downward gaze. There's no denying it. Zero, Maki, is no longer with us. Her voice was stern. Gaia started toward the door without a break in her step. Wait. What is it? We ought to board the escape pod and make a hasty retreat. It is unwise to stay longer than we need to. Can we at least fucking eat? Like, when was the last time anybody goddamn ate in this place? Let's, like, have a little meal and then bounce, you know? Maybe we can get, like, a bunch of snacks out of the machine. I know, but don't you feel sad? After all, you're the one who had to stop him. That was my decision. I can no longer take back my actions, can I? I suppose not, but what choice did I have? There are far greater concerns that we need to address. I can't be burdened by such feelings, not when there's so much to be done. Gaia, I know you want to push forward, but why not take a step back and let yourself feel those feelings? I mean, you don't seem like the kind to wallow in emotion, but it would be good to acknowledge the fact that you've been trapped here without help. And now we can help you. Or at least I want to. I, myself, must atone for my mistakes. I cannot stop just because I regret my actions. Her jaws clenched as those words escaped through gnashed teeth. Who was Akihiko? Gaia's eyes softened and her shoulders fell slack as she let out a slow sigh. Just like all the others we've lost, he was a friend. A piece of me now gone missing. And these parts of me have been carved out. The parts that Pandora called her sister and the parts that Akihiko called his friend. And those pieces of me no longer exist. Death owns those memories. Her eyes glazed over in a deep oblivion. Gaia. And it's a dreadful thing I forced you all into. No one else was meant to bear these horrible experiences except me. You shouldn't have to fight through these feelings alone. It's my responsibility due to my failure. Shouldn't I be the sole recipient of such consequences? I would let despair destroy me first if it meant I was able to command its damage singularly to one and none other. Gaia, all your efforts have been meaningless if you let yourself be killed before making any change. Indeed, such a loss would be absurd if you didn't make a significant move to stop the project that apprehended you so. And, well, I don't know what it means to you, but I still have this. Say, produce a small golden disc. Alright, because originally, Gaia gave the watch to Pandora, and Pandora gave it to Say, because she was like, well, I'm not really much of a watch person, but, you know, I think it's in better hands with you, type of thing. So, don't let despair consume you yet. We're depending on you, just as you can depend on us. The room was still, and I could hear the blood pumping in my ears as Gaia pondered her purpose. And of course, Vela guerra eternal. Something about an eternal war, I think. I'm not very versed in French. Viewbot, can you translate? I'm too lazy. I just want to make sure. Just pull out your phone or something, unless you're watching this on your phone. Just go to Google real quick. Vive la guerre something. I'm gonna drink my water. There's so much to, like, take in. Now you're screaming again. They're all so dead, bro. 5 people dead. 5 people dead. I think I did that earlier math wrong, by the way. What's like 10 times 50? Or I guess 9 times 50. Because always one guy comes out on top. Let me do the math on that. Now I'm bothered by this. 9 times 50. 450. 450 estudiantes are dead. Dead. I shall continue on. Leaving the test chambers, Gaia led us to the elevator. Similarly to the infirmary, the opposite side of the elevator cab doors opened to reveal a long, dark hallway. As six of us trudged through the industrial hallway in hushed conversation. Let me screenshot this. Gaia led the way, I followed close, and everyone else was bunched together behind, as if they were still unsure whether Gaia was trustworthy or not. Gaia, I have to know something. Why did the nurse actually back to health just before her execution? You had to know that she was the culprit, right? I didn't wish to leave you two on poor terms. What? I observed, if I recall correctly, that you and Ashley were on little speaking terms just before she went to confront Cyrus. Yeah, but it was clear to me that Ashley was powerfully driven, that nothing would stop her when she set her mind to something. And that something in this case was putting your well-being above her own. Why she did that, I of course cannot say. You ought to know better than I. I do. To soften the blow of the inevitable, I tried in all earnest to bring her back, to see a familiar face one more time. The hallway seemed to stretch forever. Echo. You are quite brave. Brave? In the past days, you stood tall against the face of so much anguish. What are you talking about? I'm not brave. I'm just trying to fend off these awful feelings. I can't stop thinking about what Ashley did for me. Would it not be easier to cast away the memories of those past? Forgetting what happened would be depriving them of their last memory. I let out a pathetic scoff. Isn't it weaker to cling to outcomes that we can't change anymore? I wouldn't go that far. The fact remains, Pandora was inspired. She saw something special about you. Is that so? Like a candle, the small flames created a vignette of salvation to cut through the darkness, all while steadily burning their wax bodies away. That said, the next torch awaits even the slightest bit of fire. Hence the little screen of Echo holding up a little match, huh? We turned the corner and were met with a hatched door. I climbed into the escape pod. I suppose that is all then, eh? Holy moly. Arturo Compapiano. Pandora Esper. Say Kono. Canonota. Forte Solo. Cyrus Zurich. Lyle Termina. Missy Vesper. Ashley Westbridge, who's certainly British. Akihiko Quartz. Gaia Esper. Echo Pine. Developed by Mithridate. Music by Masafumi Takada. Sound Masanori Hikishi. Danganronpa by Kazutaka Kodaka. Made with Renpai. Or Renpi. And we don't even get to know, huh? Fiend, that's it. We don't get to know what happened. I know you love this game, Jello. It's okay to cry. I don't feel emotional enough to cry, but I'm not gonna lie and say, it was a good story. It's a good story, certainly. I enjoyed myself. I just kind of wish to know more. Because, this whole thing feels like it could lead to another game. Oh, we're getting a little bit more off-stream then. The low drone of ocean water rolling against the outer walls filled the escape capsule. causing our small group to fall silent and tense. I hope that there isn't some like recovery team waiting to just snatch them up. How long has it been? 44 minutes? It felt like an eternity had passed. That was fucking quick then. 44 minutes from like the bottom of the ocean to shore. Say made an inquisitive murmur as she relayed the time, gazing at one of her wristwatches. She simultaneously caught a glimpse at the killing game bracelet. I turned the chain around and noticed mine was the same. Rather than reflect the previous rose gold, our bracelets had turned a hue of pure bright yellow gold. It seemed to notate victory from the game. No one saw any desire to make small talk during our resurfacing, as if conversation would distract from our escape. Exhaustion hung on everyone's faces. Apprehensive eyes cast a dark shadow across the metal exterior. Missy let out a sharp gasp. Hey, are you okay? Everyone was alert as Missy began to shake. Her breathing broken, and she looked like she was in pain. Oh no. Oh no? What's wrong? Then everyone else started to react similarly. Don't tell me the compound is now fucking turning on. I swear to the gods. My head is killing. No, please, no. What's going on? Not this again. I was horrified. Everyone's suffering right before my eyes. And soon as their pain began, they all fell still. No way. No way. I grabbed Cannon by the shoulder and shook her firmly. I heard small breaths escape. I looked at the others to see that they were fortunately still breathing. They're okay. This is the doing of the ultimate psionic. Their adverse reactions mirroring the events that took place when they were captured in the first place. We've been trapped. Huh? How? Plot twist? The game is a loop? Not sure. The preservation project must be pursuing their wrecked ship. Zero must have sent a radio signal to the land site before I stopped him. But how are you alright? They must assume I'm dead. A regrettable assumption for them. How are we gonna drag this many people out of here? Or are we gonna have to, like, leave them behind? I don't wanna leave their friends behind. This is fucking terrible. How long does the compound last? Just when I thought it was over, a new complication drew itself before our escape. Why did nobody try to take these damn things off? Why did they just not, like, toss that shit? And me? Gaia looked at me with raised eyebrows. She was surprised. You're lucky. Cannon, Lyle, Missy, and Sai were all in unresponsive states. It seems they were rendered unconscious. So, what now? There's nothing we can do to stop whoever is awaiting our arrival from discovering us. We're just going to have to resurface and see what happens from there. Prepare yourself. Prepare myself? Be ready for whatever happens. Do not idle when we're discovered. It's inevitable. The best thing we can do is be prepared. I nodded. It's true. We were going to be helpless to take action until we got out of the escape pod. I steadied my breath and closed my eyes. I let the sound of rolling water fill my thoughts. And I racked my brain thinking about that evening. Alright, thanks for the lift. And be careful with your ankle. I can't believe you insisted on driving, even though it's broken. It's not a problem at all. Besides, my ankle is almost done healing, so it's no big deal. It's not like I drive with that foot anyway. I'm just worried since I can't walk you to the door. I wanted to see if Applejack was in the petting mood tonight. My house is right there, you don't need to worry. And if she is, I'll make sure to give the kitty a good scratching for you. Alright, thanks. Night, Ash. There's an outside? Of course there is. Of course there is. What did you think, bot? What did you think there was? Just emptiness? And good night, Echo. Her porch light hasn't turned on. She usually turns it on for a minute, so I know she made it in, but I should get out and see what's going on. Now. Click. Oh, there it is. Well, time to get back. Westbridge Stables. Hello, sir. It's Echo. I was just calling to see if Ashley got in okay. I couldn't reach her cell. Hello, Echo. Why, she's just fine. I believe she's busy with a small matter at the moment, but nothing to worry about. Oh, can I ask what's wrong? Nothing is wrong, nothing at all. In fact, it's very good news. She was approached by a gentleman who's responding to an inquiry in regards to her horseback riding. It's a fantastic opportunity, that one. I wasn't aware she signed herself up for such a prestigious thing. I'm told that pro golfer Campapiano fellow is going to be there. I see. That's great to hear. I'm absolutely cuffed? Yes, cuffed, shoved, I don't know. My girl is off to do great things, I tell you. It's a winding process, so I'm told, so it'll be a while before she'll be able to spare the time. I see. Please wish her luck for me. I'll have to give her a call back when she's free to hear all about it. Will do. I'm sure she'll be over the moon talking your ear off when all the formalities have been taken care of. And Echo? I'm happy Ashley has a friend like you. Thank you for taking care of her. Not a problem. It's the least I could do. And now she's fucking dead. Thank you for playing. Thank you guys for making the game. Random internet people. Random funny people in my computer. I can't, I'm a little anxious, I'm not gonna lie. That ending has me a little anxious for the characters, but it's like Gaia said, you can't really do much until you get off the ship, and unfortunately, we're not there to be with Echo and Gaia once they get off that escape pod. Hopefully, things end well for them, I suppose. Chances are they won't, but I hope they do. Anyhow, I suppose I shall bring us here to just chat for a little while. What did you think of the game, Bot? Because you were there for quite a good chunk of it, if I remember. Those aren't laughs, by the way. It's okay to admit it. You're just like that emote. Why? Holding back tears. Yeah, I'm just a little anxious. I'm a little anxious about things, but it was a good game overall. Good long game, longer than I thought it would be. You liked it? A little too much yapping, but it was good. I mean, that's what these kinds of games are for, essentially. It's all story. It's all story with very little investigation, because, you have to wait for a murder to happen before the investigation begins. But I do kind of agree that I know the non-fan Danganronpa games do tend to have a little bit more exploration involved. You actually have the ability to go around and interact with the characters individually, rather than this one leaned more into the visual novel aspect of things. I remember watching somebody play a Danganronpa game one time, and it was definitely a lot more click and, I guess, yeah, it was like a click and, what did they call those games? Click and explore type of thing? Where you would go from room to room, you would talk to the characters, and eventually, you would eventually just wind up, after talking to all the characters, you wind up you know, yeah, point and click adventure. Yeah, point and click adventure. I know the OG Danganronpas are like that. This was definitely more like holding your hand along the way, more visual novel. Nothing wrong with that. The art, like you said, the art was great. I did like the art. I did like the character designs. I liked the little, like, I liked that we got to explore their motivations, and I liked how different they were from one another. You know, even like off the bat, off the rip, each character was like very different from one another, very distinct, very memorable, even if yours truly was a doofus when it came to like memorizing their names. Actually, I think I genuinely had an easier time understanding remembering everybody's name, and that's kind of rare, even though there were like 10 characters. Like, I feel like I did pretty well in remembering people's names, which just goes to credit how well the characters were both designed and written. Fuck that red guy though. Akihiko, or I guess his like AI alternate freaking Zero, yeah. Zero was a fucking problem chief. But hey, I suppose it can't be helped, you know? It only makes a man wonder if there's gonna be a sequel. Probably not, because fan games in general, you know, one, take a long time to produce, and two, it's free. I mean, I guess technically, if you wanted to, you could give money as well, because it was on itch.io, and on itch.io you have the option to like give people money when they like release their games for like the option to download it for free. And I assume most people downloaded it for free, but like, you know, the fact that that's the case is very astonishing to me, because it's a really, really good like fan game. Like, that's the thing you gotta remember. This isn't an official game. This is a fan game. A fan game of an actual property. And there's a couple of other out there that I've not, you know, I guess this is technically my first Danganronpa. Give them your paycheck, Yalo. I don't have a paycheck to give, unfortunately. If I did, I'd be paying people money. Perhaps one day I shall come back to this and like slide them a little slide them a solid $10 bill when I do have the money. But that will be all for now. I must go feed myself, and I suppose let's see what we have for tomorrow. I kind of forgot what the rest of the week was to hold. We're playing Dice Gambit tomorrow, which I forgot what that's about. 5. You're missing a 0, sir. $50. $50. Solid 50. Solid 5. Not even Benjamins. What are the $10? Who's on the $10 bill? I forget if it's like, because I know Benjamin Franklin's on the 100. Okay, tomorrow we play Dice Gambit. The day after that, we do Repo maybe. And then on Sunday is Helltaker / the other one. I forgot the other game. But that shall be all. I bid thee farewell, my kindred. I hope you have a great rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, and nights, wherever and whenever you are. May the gods bless you. May the stars shine in your honor. And I shall see you all in the morrow. Ta-ta.